Stan, did you dress up for this?
He did.
I did.
I love that for you so much.
You should have kept the sunglasses. He walked in with sunglasses on.
Yeah, I can put them back
Yeah,
on.
you can put them back on. Yeah, you can put them back on.
I like how I like dressed down
New
for
guy,
this.
new guy with the glasses.
Yeah,
there you
yeah.
go.
I just came straight from the office, so I didn't. Really
Yeah, I
do
just came
anything.
straight from
I
running
never
around.
know what I'm going to get with him. Like, I'm always like this, but
It's
I never know what
Friday.
I'm going to get with him.
I watched a couple. He had suits on, so I was
Yeah.
like, I'll wear a suit.
Oh, you were like, you study or you studying film?
Check it out. What's the
I
vibe?
get.
So then the one time we did a Cozza Law cast, the
Look at
second
shit.
one, right? Well, we did that, and I ended up wearing a.
There you go.
I wore a jacket, and they all came casual.
Keep you on your toes, man. That's what we do.
Couldn't believe it. Gents, I want to talk about a bunch of things, but the first thing is I want to pose a question to you. What do you think is more difficult for people? Finding humility or being kind?
I'll let someone else go first.
Yeah, we'll go counterclockwise.
Oh, I get to go first.
Yeah, come on, Uncle Matt.
Well, finding humility or being kind,
Which's more difficult?
which one's more difficult?
Would you guess? We're talking averages here. I get
Sure.
it.
I need a scenario
No scenario. What do you?
because I feel like it's all circumstantial.
Well, everything in life is
I
circumstantial.
know, but that's what I mean. Is I feel like it's all right. Then I'll just go. It's harder to find humility
Harder.
That's
to
what
find
I would guess today.
humility. Huh.
because people can be kind because being kind is very short. Short
Takes
attention
less
span.
effort,
Yeah, exactly.
less emotional effort.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Like you can give the guy on the street $1, but you don't actually care what he does with that dollar or where he goes.
That's a good point. That's a good
Out of
point.
sight, out of mind. Here's your $1. Bye. I helped out. I was kind. But also, like, if that dude stands up and gets hit by a truck, I'll be like, oh, that wasn't me. There it is. That just, podcast is over.
Mic drop. Done. We're done.
Shouldn't have asked me first.
Shortest
We're canceled.
podcast ever.
Next question.
YouTube
All right.
I mean,
You
I
two
feel
cancels me
like no one
tomorrow.
can argue against that. Like, if that dude then got hit by a car, sure, you'd be like, oh my goodness,
Yeah, we know.
what do I do? He still holds my $1. Do you go back and get that $1?
I feel like you let the dollar go. I feel like you let that one go, man.
You let that dollar
Thank
go.
God it wasn't you that got hit. That's really it.
Exactly.
That's it.
There you go.
That dollar bought your ticket to
So
safety.
your thought is though it's easier to be kind than it is to find humility.
Oh, I think, yeah, for most people, yes.
for the average person.
Yes.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Don't copy my answers.
I'll take it a step further. I'll
In the
say
third grade.
surface kindness is easier.
Yeah.
Than surface humility.
Is
But,
that real kindness though?
yeah, to go real all in, like I'm going to dedicate my life to whatever, give away all my money. I think that's a lot harder.
Who are you giving the money away to?
That wasn't the question.
Are you just opening the window and throwing it out? Because I don't know if that's kind.
Rent a plane, drop it down. I don't know.
Then here's how you can look at that. If you rent a plane, you drop it out. You know that somebody's going to fight for that money. So now you've started a whole different...
Okay, so start a charity and give it to something
You're starting
directly.
conflict.
Dedicating your life to something other than yourself.
So
I think
that's
that's a lot
humility.
harder to do.
Well, yeah. So I think to even take that one step further, I look at kindness are actions, humility is a mindset.
Mhm.
So it's like it's easier to take actions as opposed to changing your mindset. I can do kind acts, right? But I think humility is a shift of mindset, shift of perspective, right? It's how I look at myself.
Can be.
How's it? How couldn't it be?
Well,
Humility is truly how you think of yourself.
I mean, I think that's exactly like it's kind to give that $1,
Right.
but
It's
then the
action.
humility is literally making sure that that person's actually okay.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah,
That's why I think it's easier to kindness than.
Yeah, I always come down to people when you look at people and they're trying to do, we're having discussions like this. Actions are always easier to do than changing the mindset or the person. Like they say, if you want to make a change, you say, I'm not gonna start working out. I'm gonna become a fit person. If you tell yourself you're become a fit person, that's who you become. I'm going to start working out. I'm going to engage in actions, which I may or may not do, which may or may not lead to a result. But if I change my frame of who I am a fit person. The actions are just what I do. And truly, it's the nuance of language. But I think if you do one over the other, you'll see more results here than here.
If you just be a humble person, though, you could still sit on the couch all day and contribute nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, take that. Explain that then.
What if I decide I'm a humble person and
You can't decide that.
I become a Buddhist but don't do anything?
That's
Still
like-
sit on the couch,
that's like
still order
saying
Grubhub.
People,
still-
yeah.
but-
And how do you treat the Grubhub people?
Right, exactly. Yeah, how do you grump up people?
How do you treat the person who's trying to take care of you?
If you're humble, wouldn't you end up being kind?
Correct.
So you're going to take the risk of being a default? I don't think humans can bank on that.
But to your point, you're making the point. Like if you become that type of person, kindness just becomes the action, right? You become a kinder person because you're humble. You have humility.
Okay.
Where if you say I'm going to do these kind acts, you can still be an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be real. You can still be an asshole.
Yeah, it's just
and
like
do
people
nice
who go to
things.
church are still.
Yeah, see, I look at the two things independent of each other.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I don't think every act of humility is tied with a gesture of kindness and vice versa.
I'm not saying that.
Yeah, I
know?
don't think that's.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be. It can be, but it doesn't have
What
to
I'm
be.
saying is if you are humble and you have humility, the kind actions come from that. I'm not saying all of your actions are kind, but kind actions come from the type of person you are. If you're not that type of person, you can still engage in kind acts by choice, but you're not humble so that it's harder to change a person's mindset in the way they view themselves and to get them to engage in an action.
It's a good point.
You can tell your kids to share their toys. They can share their toys and still be little assholes.
Well, they might share it because they're afraid of the consequences and
Right.
not coming out of humility.
Correct. Yes.
So it's easier to be kind.
I think it's easier. I think it's easier to be kind than to be humble and have humility. I do. That's my thought.
You think it's easier to be you think it's easier to be kind than it is to find humility.
Yes, I think it's easier to engage in kind acts than it is to find humility with yourself.
Okay. I tend to believe that to be true too.
Okay.
This might seem like a far out reasoning, but I also say that the only reason I believe that is because if you ask me the question, which I'm going to ask all of you, for most of humanity, is the natural default kindness or non-kindness? I believe that it is kindness because of this one reason. Not because we have this inner good. I believe we've been conditioned over time because of animals. Domestic animals especially. We've learned to be kind and fall in love with things that relate to us in a different way. And thus that kindness bleeds over into our relationship with people that we probably might not be kind with. You see what I mean? There's a different dynamic there. And I believe the human condition does not default to kindness. I believe it's all survival, and I believe we're going to go the opposite route. In a civilized society, I think the idea of having domesticated animals might shift the scales there, and maybe condition humans to be more kind.
I'm just unpacking this in my head a bit. So,
I'm not going first.
Sam, what are your thoughts?
I think the amount of time you can do either would be part of the determination.
Okay.
Like kind of like what Matt was saying. It's easy to give $1. It's easy to give $1 every day.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give $1 every day forever?
Be a lot of dollars.
Same with being humble though too. If it's easy to have a mindset of being humble for a period of time, but then you get tired, life gets crazy, whatever else, you might lose that perspective.
Well, I agree, but I don't think it changes the perspective of being a humble person. Like, look, I tend to think I'm a decent human being and I have humility. I can still get worked up and get agitated and get overwhelmed by things. I don't think if a person is truly humble or has humility, having a bad day makes them not. Not to your point about, so you're basically saying that humans were not kind by nature, but because we have dogs and cats, we're now kind.
Because we domesticated animals. And,
Yeah,
I don't know how long that goes back, but I think that is the differential that might make the inclination toward kindness more relevant with each other.
Yeah, but there's also some people who have animals who treat their animals like
Right.
crap.
But would you argue that that is the small percentage? Do you think the percentage of that on that equation is really significant?
I mean, or like just don't take care of them or give them the proper.
I don't think we're using the right data because how many people actually have animals?
Yeah, how many people have animals that you don't know of? Also, how many people have animals that just like come into their house and I leave if I see a stray cat. When I lived in Southside, I would just leave extra food out. I didn't even have any animals, but I would go get a cat and I'd be like, "Here, kitty."
And why is that?
Because
I'm a nice person.
But here's my thing. My belief is because
It's not my cat.
If you look at babies, right, and kids, like they don't come out wanting to kill each other, right? The environment creates the choice of conflict. I think human beings by default. My belief is this is my belief. I'm an optimist. That we are good by nature, human beings. The environment distorts us. So you're saying we are not kind by nature. The environment potentially makes us kinder because we decide to domesticate animals. Which I get. I'm just the opposite viewpoint.
Yeah, I'm the opposite. I think, and it isn't like I don't have a hatred toward the human species or pure negativity, but I do believe our first.
Oh, but I do.
Our first. Oh well, we're getting to you. But I think people's first inclination is survival, and if kindness fits in after they're comfortable, they'll give it.
All right, I have a question for you. Is there a difference between anger and hatred? This is an actual topic that I had to like give a whole discussion on.
That's good.
Yeah, you can get angry without hating something.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'll let you answer that question first, and then I have a follow up.
I would agree with what Stan said. Yeah, I think I can be angry, but I can be angry with a person, but not hate the person.
Which one is worse?
So hold on. It comes back to the definition of what you're talking about,
Okay.
because anger is
That's
anger.
something you feel.
Anger is yeah. It's almost I don't know how to express it exactly, but that is an emotion that it's an action. Yeah, you're acting on an emotion.
Yeah, it's a fleeting emotion.
Hatred could be a philosophy. It could be a built-in. For a lot of hatred could be a lot of things, but you have to include in there. You have to include in there a philosophy, a built-in mindset, something deeper.
There has to be a recipient of the hate.
Yeah, good
An
point.
object.
Yeah,
Good point.
Yeah,
Good
absolutely, 100%.
All right, so then which is worse?
Let's go with Nietzsche, beyond good and evil here.
Oh, right on.
Right on. Hatred's worse in my mind. Because I believe anger is a fleeting emotion, right? It's kind of it's the kindness, humility. To me, I see the argument as the exact same, just in the inverse.
I do too.
Anger is the fleeting emotion, right? I can be angry. Hatred is a philosophy and a mindset. So I think if you have there's nothing I hate. I have no hatred towards anybody. Do I get angry? Fuck yeah, I get angry all the time.
You hate the Yankees.
Well, okay, yes, but that is an inanimate sports team that I'm a Red Sox fan, so fuck the Yankees.
Right.
But I mean, like, in anything that matters, like, I have no hate for anybody. Do I get angry with people and things? Of course I do.
Well,
I'm human.
you can't argue though that anger causes a lot of destruction in this world.
See, also so does hate.
Mm-hmm.
But then I also go back to the fact that hate also drives a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
So it has like at least. Depending on who it is, it can have a positive outlook. You hate how this room looks, so you change it.
Mm-hmm.
Could be better.
Okay, but anger can do the same thing. Anger can do the same thing, in my opinion, right?
Yeah, but I feel like anger has a like it's very actionable, so it could be.
So think about it this way:
I feel like hate is a more driving force. Like you said, it's like it's buried deep, and it's like a. But also, mind you, I'm like a very positive person, so that's why I find all this.
No, I agree, but I think you're right. So I look at it like, okay, I can get up and be angry at myself because I feel like a fat piece of shit, and I can say I'm gonna start working out. Am I gonna hate myself? Is hating myself gonna
But do
motivate?
you hate feeling like a piece of shit?
Yes.
Well, that's a good point.
because it's a feeling, and you're going to keep working until you stop feeling that hate. You might not be like angry at yourself. You're angry that you missed a workout, but you still hate more how you feel.
But to me, see, hate is a very strong word.
It's a heavy word. Yeah, it's a heavy word, man.
No, I totally get it.
I get
to use that in
angry
self-reflection
with
is not healthy.
Yeah, like I've never hated anything
I say it every
about
day.
myself. I've been angry with myself because I look at like I'm in control of myself.
Yeah.
And if I'm not where I want to be or feel a certain way, that is on me. That is on no one else.
It's more
angry
disappointment than anger, right?
Yeah, I mean, but I would probably say anger. When I'm angry at things like that, that motivates me. Like if something makes me angry, it forces change. So if I look at things happening around me, and if something makes me angry externally, it moves me to change. That's how I look at it.
I mean, that's how I look at both. So,
Well, excuse me.
I just try and
But
be a very bubbly, positive person.
But I think it's
if I don't like something,
I mean, what do you think? You're just like looking at me, man. Like you think I'm angry now.
We're all angry.
I'm angry with you, Stan.
I think hate's the. You have to have that object. You have something a little bit external, not quite. And anger is more internal feeling.
Okay. Yeah. So you can be angry at yourself and hate something external.
Because I don't know, is hate a feeling?
See, that's how I feel. I don't feel hate as a feeling. I feel like I just don't like it.
Isn't it a chosen philosophy?
It's like a degree of dislike.
Yeah. Yes, I agree with that.
An
Anger is
extreme
the
of
feeling.
dislike.
Yeah.
So like when I wake up every morning, I'm like, I hate that I got up late.
Yes.
I hate that I ate frosted flakes with loaded sugar for breakfast, which I don't. But you know what I mean? So it's like, then tomorrow, I'm going to change that.
Yes. Okay.
And I think if I was angry at that, that would be you get out of bed and you're like, that's like frustration. That to me is a feeling. But like if I hate something, then I'm just like, I hate that. Like I need to do better.
Okay.
For me, it's always like an internal conflict on that.
Yeah, I never looked.
But like
at
I'm not like angry about it. I'm not like, because I go anger is like an emotion that's like pissed, and then like your emotions are off for the day.
Yes.
And if I go into a shoot and I'm angry about something, everybody's gonna feel it. But if I just hate something, to me that doesn't. That's I hate it, but it's like I soak it in.
Hate is more destructive. Anger is something I can get over quickly. Like once a month, I'm angry with him when he tells me when he's like, "Your business is this. Your numbers suck. Everybody sucks."
Yeah,
I'm
but I think but I also don't like
That's
equate.
exactly how I say it.
Like, yeah, I mean, I get that because I don't like hate. Like, I could never hate a thing.
Okay.
Like, but that's just me personally. Like, I could never hate like somebody.
Yeah.
Like, that's just not a thing.
Yeah,
except for myself.
I don't think I've ever hated it. I don't think I've ever hated
But like,
anybody.
I totally hate like actions and like how things are, and I'm like, I hate it. I want it to change. I want those things to change because there's always the
I see
do
that
better.
point.
I don't know if you were trying to compare degrees of dislike in degrees of feelings, probably hate is better with something more than anger, like rage.
Yeah.
Like hate and rage, different things, but they're more on that side of the spectrum for each of their respective ideas.
My hate is like normal. I just hate everything. But it doesn't affect me.
You think that we abuse the word hate, like use it like to your point?
I mean, I think it depends on who says it, though.
Because I would say maybe something like dislike and anger for me would be more.
I don't
on a
even
similar
dislike
spectrum.
I agree.
Totally.
Yeah, that make what you're saying makes sense. Like because you're looking at the spectrum, like dislike and anger, hate and rage, are kind of like the bigger. But yeah, do I think people abuse?
All right, let's
term?
see if you try food.
Okay.
And you dislike the food.
Yeah.
Are you angry at the food?
Oh.
This is a question. Like if I was like, "Hey, here's a burger," and I totally love it, and then you're like, "Oh man, I hate this."
Well, you might be angry 30 minutes later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like we went to a Chinese food.
But like,
buffet
I'm
for
pretty
Gailey's
sure
birthday,
in your vocabulary, you wouldn't be like, "I just really dislike this." You'd probably be like, "Oh man, I hate this." Like right off the bat.
Now,
So it's a misuse of the word.
yeah.
Well, I think as a society, we're pretty lazy with our vocabulary.
Yes.
But to me, I put that all in.
That might be the understatement of the night.
that is the bigger point, because you're right. Like if I look at the word hate, like I think hate is such a strong word. But yes, have I said I hate this pizza? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, this is stupid. Why am I eating this?
I hold it all on the same level as the way you hold pizza.
I look at the.
Sorry to detract on that.
No. I look at a lot of song lyrics, and I have since I was younger to find like motivation and things to twist. And there was a song by Public Image Limited 30 years ago, and it was in this song, the song was called Rise, and it was like the only popular song the band had, I guess. But over and over again in that song, they go, "Anger is an energy. Anger is an energy," and I didn't understand what the hell that was until you sit and you think and you contemplate. And to your point, if the anger gets you either motivated or gets you to take action, and the whole point of that was that there was in that song there was injustice and Nelson Mandela and all that, and people were rising up against it and their anger was an energy, not positive or negative, but it was an energy that got them moving toward solving something.
Yeah, that's that's the whole Jungian shadow self, like using that dark energy that we all have, which is anger. However people look at that phrase, that dark side of the human experience, that energy, and channeling it to become a more integrated person. Like that's when you truly start to figure out life, and you're able to incorporate the two and integrate like that dark energy, which could be anger, or however you want to phrase it, and then the positive energy. Like that's, to me, like that's the real essence of using that energy to move you. Like I'll let anger motivate me. Absolutely. Like that's a huge motivator of me.
Do you think it's healthy?
Fuck no.
Yes, I totally think it's healthy. You got to get it out somehow.
Well, yeah, you do. But
Getting it out
know,
is healthy.
I mean, look, I'm even going through that own self-discovery myself. I feel like I'm constantly looking at this, but yes, like I'm realizing there are certain things I shouldn't get angry about. I can still let those things motivate me, but I shouldn't let it come from anger. It should come from somewhere else. I'm trying to start recognizing when that's happening and adjust my framing really quickly. But it's a challenge every day, because there's stuff I see, I'm like, this is bullshit, and I get angry about it. And I'm like, why am I getting angry? This is so stupid. But you have to be self-reflective first until you can figure that out.
Yes.
Stan, do you hate tax season?
Well, that's a good question.
Hate is a strong word.
You dislike it.
Dislike it, yeah, for sure.
Do you dislike me as a client?
No, you're on the anger rage side. That's an emotion he feels.
You're on the anger spectrum.
Okay, that's fine. Do you hate anything?
That's what I was thinking. It's such an extreme. I think you can hate like really bad situations.
What goes under hate,
like
though?
a lose. Not even in my life, but
okay.
In the world, situations that's just like there's no good option. That really, really sucks. I hate that exists for people.
But is there something like more than hate, or is hate like how you went?
I'm one of those people in
rage?
Society that does not have a good vocabulary, so I would say.
Well, I'm just curious. Like
there might be better words beyond hate, but
beyond hate. I'm pretty sure that's a band name.
Yeah. I've never mapped out like love to hate and
levels
everything
of hate.
in between.
No, I totally get. I mean, it's not a thing that people
That's why
think
it's an
about
interesting
often,
conversation.
but
it is, because now this is getting really interesting. I'm just curious, like how we all four of us in this room obviously define these things very differently.
Like
is what I'm taking.
Yeah, and I do throw both love and hate around for things that probably don't
We all
deserve
do.
it.
my sliding scale is leaning way more like positive than most people. So when I hate something, that's like literally like the cusp of like I don't get angry. Like for me personally, like it's very, very hard to actually make me angry about something. I don't know.
My anger's internal.
My hatred's internal.
See, I've realized that about myself. I'll get more angry at myself for letting a situation happen than I am for the other person or thing causing the situation. I'm way harder on myself than others, and I just get more angry with myself than anybody else. I'm way more tolerant with people than I am with myself. I'll give people way more passes than I should. But if I do something that's like just a stupid F up, I'm just like, what? Like, I get so pissed at myself. And that's a fault that I'm 47, I still haven't figured it out.
Mm-hmm.
To take that back to the first question, is that unhealthy humility? Where you say this is a bad thing, but then I'm angry about it?
Yeah, I mean, probably, Stan. That's actually a good point. Like, it is, yeah, because, I mean, it probably is unhealthy a little bit.
You got to be a little bit more kind to yourself.
Everybody tells me that. You're not the first person that says that. But
I mean,
for sure you do.
Yeah.
Well, or indifferent.
But the problem I have is, and this is going to sound stupid, I have such high expectations of myself that when I don't do something that I think I should have done, or I didn't see something that I think I should have saw, I get really pissed.
Are you disappointed or pissed?
Pissed.
Why need you see someone about that?
Frustrated. I get that way with work stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you miss something.
That's yes. It's like I'm supposed to know what I'm doing, and I do know what I'm doing. But there are sometimes we're human. But then I have learned to take a step back and say, look, I'm human. Mm-hmm. I make mistakes, and I've embraced that more. But I get to the work, like I get more pissed at myself when it's not even necessarily work related. It's just I missed something in the environment, or I didn't see a situation,
right?
Or I didn't, because I'm really good at anticipating things. That's been one of my skill sets. So when I miss something, or didn't anticipate something, or was distracted, that's what pisses me off.
Missed opportunity.
Missed opportunity, or yeah, exactly. That's a good point. Missed opportunity, or just a missed preventative measure that I could have taken, but I was a step too late. If I didn't see something bad coming quick enough, still prevented it from being terrible. But I could have nipped it sooner.
I struggle with that, like optimizing a situation in
that's the
every
right
aspect of my life.
That is it, Stan. That is exactly
that can drive you insane.
Yeah.
If you start analyzing every single motion and emotion and circumstance.
Yeah, that's why I always come back to, can I get 1% better every day? Mm-hmm. And I just say, okay. And I look at my life now. I said, if I do it 80% of the time, so if 8 out of 10 days I can go to bed at night and say I got a little bit better today than I was yesterday. I'm good. There are going to be days where I'm just like, I shit the bed today. Literally shit the bed, didn't do shit. And I'm okay with
I think it's important to, I don't have a better word, so I apologize for the religious connotations, but I think it's almost important that you give oneself grace when you realize you effed up or that you didn't meet expectations. I think if you're not willing to do that, or whatever the definition of grace is that you want to use, basically giving yourself a pass. Not a pass for your responsibility, but a pass for that moment, knowing that you're going to get after it again tomorrow. If you can't do that over time, it can't be healthy.
No.
That's a slippery slope, though, to every day taking a pass.
Well, if you're continually getting the same pass for the same thing every day, there's a problem.
I'd hate that.
Yeah.
Hate. Use the word. I would hate that. If I gave myself a pass for a day, I'd be like, I don't. I'd just go to bed and hate the whole thing. And I'd be like, tomorrow we're not doing that. I'm going to hate it and we're going to do better.
Well, yeah.
I probably won't even go to bed. I'll just stay up until I fix the problem.
But to your point with Grace, one thing I've learned, even over the past just 2 years, where I used to get mad at myself when I wasn't doing something productive, every day, 7 days a week, where finally I realized that I need to take, and I don't say rest, I need to recover. So I've now given myself the grace to say, one day on the weekend, either it's a Saturday or Sunday, I'm not going to do shit. I'm not going to open my email. I'm not going to do anything, and I'm okay with it. The world's not going to end. But it took me a while to get to that point, to give myself the grace to do that, and it was a forced action. Now I'm at the point I'm okay with it, but that's something that's where I'll give grace.
Well, that's I believe personally that's the dilemma of every younger high achiever. They just think they view every day as a work day.
Or a missed opportunity.
Well, that's why they view it that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was listening to something. They called it you wake up with a productivity deficit that you need to make up for.
Wow.
That's just right out of the gate.
That describes you.
Yeah, that's me, dude.
It stuck with me.
Shit. Productivity deficit, man.
Okay, let me turn the knob a little bit to the right. This is good stuff. This is what I want to do. Just pull
it. Solve my problems. Thanks, guys.
So Rocco and I have bounced this around a lot, but sporadically. It isn't like from week to week we talk about this, but selfishly first, what the pandemic taught me, which I did not have before the pandemic, was the beauty of correct and very selective indifference. Something that works for me. It was life-changing for me. I didn't get it from a book. I basically got it from my essays and writing, all the journaling. And once I started to let go of all these external things that I consumed my mind with, they were completely irrelevant to my day in, day out. You know, politics, like the big picture politics and things that would get me charged up. I mean, I was wound so tight that if my favorite rock bands, you know, had a bad event happen in their tapestry, I would it literally would emotionally piss me off. That's part of my day. I mean, I was wound just way too tight. So I'm unpacking all of that. And then I started a new mind shift completely, and it's been amazing, that aspect of my life. My question to you is, why is there such an incredibly negative viewpoint of the simple word of indifference in society? Because I honestly believe that. I believe that most people you encounter, if you get into a conversation and you mention the word indifference, they find it unkind, or they just don't want to associate themselves with that word. You know? Meanwhile, I think it's a perfectly usable and appropriate word for a good portion of my life. And I don't make any apologies about it, because it's about my own mental peace of mind, and I've been using it effectively for 5 years now. But why do you feel that? What do you feel about indifference? When you hear that word, what do
you feel about indifference?
What's your
I'm
gut tell you?
indifferent from the word.
I was gonna say, it's very. If you're indifferent, then you can't have an opinion on it.
You can, but you have no desire to express it or act on
Just
it.
indifferent on it, and so
I think you can't have it. I agree. Like, that's a good way. That's a good way of putting it. Because if
I don't have an opinion, it's circumstantial.
Indifference isn't having an opinion, not talking about it. It's just not having an opinion on it.
Yeah, I think there's a difference in saying like I'm indifferent to that, but I'm still holding something. I'm holding it, so I don't really want to talk about it because I'm indifferent. Indifference is actually like, no, literally like either educate me on something or what.
Yeah,
It's kind of. Are you asking like the feeling of the word though, from what society?
I guess what's obviously the feeling sends negative connotations, because it's listed as being unkind or irresponsible or whatever.
I think it's a
definition you want to attach to it.
reactionary thing though.
It's back to just the vocabulary.
Yeah.
People associate it with other things. There's not enough words. You want to say like, I'm emotionally or intellectually removed from this topic. I haven't thought about it. I haven't explored it to develop an opinion or an emotion on it.
I've said that many times to people.
Yeah.
Never really lands well. And maybe it's just me. I don't know, but it doesn't seem to land well.
I think it's because people, if you're indifferent to something they have an opinion on, they take it as you oppose their opinion. Like that's how I look at it. It's like there is no being indifferent. If you don't agree with me, you disagree with me. Like
Bingo.
Like to me,
Bingo.
Climate change, I'm indifferent to. Don't know enough about it. Never looked at it. I don't really know what it does, what it is.
If it exists.
But if someone asks me about it, they're like, well, how can you not care about the Earth? So that's not the question. It's like
The Earth.
Yeah, like I don't know enough. To your point, like I'm not educated on it.
Yeah, ignorant. That's another word people have emotions about.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I'm ignorant. Well, literally, I don't know. I have no data. I have no facts.
Yes.
I've never thought about it. I'm pretty ignorant on a lot of topics.
Well, people conflate that word with rude, right? They think ignorant and rude are the same thing. It's like, no, they're two different things. But people think if you say I'm ignorant, you're ignorant. It's like, well, they think you're saying you're being rude or unkind. It's like, no, I just don't know.
All right, let me extrapolate that. Is that what you just said to be true, more common today than decades prior, before the web? Were we better thinkers at that time? Were we calm enough and rational enough to understand that words have multiple meanings before we react to them?
No, because I think it's just the web is an echo chamber of everything that you want it to be. It's just like, oh, hey, here's a bunch of van life stuff, Rocco.
Yeah.
Get ready to buy a van. And you're like, maybe I don't want to see this anymore. Well, guess what? Yeah. We're going to keep showing you van life stuff. And it looks awesome. Right. You don't see the crappy van life person who's broken down on the side of the middle of nowhere trying to figure out how to get cell service to get towed.
Awesome. Yeah.
It looks great.
But no, I mean,
are you ignorant to that aspect of it?
No, but your point, like to that point, like, I think the internet is just a mirror of society. I just think 20 years ago, we all acted the same. We just didn't see it because there was no way to see it as much as we see it now.
So you don't think our behavior as a culture has changed because of the web? Do you think we're the same people? Because I don't. I think it definitely changed.
Ability to have a conversation changed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Those people that get upset when you say indifferent might go home and think about it if they have any self-reflection and realize that what you were talking about just hours later just takes more time.
I would hope so.
Well, and I think to your point, I think the internet has a changed behavior. So yes, I think it's changed behavior or created new behavior. But do I think it has changed the underlying emotional fabric of society? I think we've always been this way. There's always been people that think one way, another way, this way, the idiots, the people that don't give a shit, the indifferent people, the people that are opinionated on everything. This is just now a view of it all, very easily accessible through something we all carry with us every day. 20 years ago, when I was in college, it took 5 minutes to get on the internet. You were dialing it up through AOL, and it was like you were going to.
I'll even give you the fact that my own kids asked me if I knew who Limp Bizkit was.
I hung out with that dude in Vegas,
and I was like, every album front to back, I'll rap all of it.
Right.
But I'm like, it's the same, almost the same like culture that was 20 years ago, like in the 90s. And I'm like, their fads have come back. That like, and you're like, this is all the same thing. So it's the same thing, but now it's different because you see more of it.
Yeah, because look at like the 90s, right? The 90s, like the 70s stuff was cool in the 90s.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like there's always, if you look,
20-year swing.
But think about that. So it's really just these 20-year swings repeating themselves through the optics of what society has at the moment. You know, MTV was in the 90s, and it was like all these flashbacks to like, the retro stuff. Now we have the internet, and there are all these kids going back to the 90s or like the old days. Like the 90s aren't the fucking old days. That was like the best music. That's when I was in school. But it's really just, it's opened our view to how society is. To Stan's point, behavior, yes, I think it's encouraged conversation because now you have access to more information. So there's more things to talk about. There's more things to discuss. There's more things to unpack. But I still think the emotional fabric of society is still the same.
Has it changed the way we think? Has the average person, our process to think through a problem, or the decision to try to think through a problem?
Yes and no, because some people just go to the first thing that they see and say, that's it.
How much of that is prevalent that was not there before the web?
Well, that's the thing, is you actually had to read things.
Or you were indifferent because you didn't want to go through all that aggravation.
Well, exactly.
Have you, take your profession, have you seen the internet and technology change the level of skill in your profession or the level of thinking in your profession? Putting you on the hot seat.
Yeah, I'd say probably. I mean, unfortunately, most of the people doing it are still older.
Okay.
So they're doing what they've always done.
Okay, so they haven't
Kind of
shifted.
do.
So, like, I have a question. If Stan wanted to learn about some sort of tax thing, like when we were at breakfast the other day, and he could just look it up, like that's something that you wouldn't have been able to do back in the day. You'd have actually have to go.
And that's pre me. I never worked. I'm 35, so I didn't do this before the internet.
So you had the internet.
So it's like,
And
or
you still
he's just
and
making
you
it.
still got the tax question wrong because I still have the trophy.
I mean, I wasn't going to say the answer to that, but
I
my goodness.
have to get a shot in every once in a while.
Rocco gets the trophy.
he's holding the trophy currently.
But I think
It's probably more of a communication thing.
Yeah.
Really.
Well, but I think now it's causing people to think less or think differently, because now with the incorporation of AI, like people are now thinking about things differently or just using AI to think for them. That's what I'm noticing now.
It's gonna be like a skill, like cursive. Like people don't write in cursive anymore, so nobody knows
I mean, I
how
don't
to
even
do it.
write, so
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't even write if I tried.
I started to write in a journal again, starting like last year. My hand hurts after I write one page. Like straight up, I was like, this sucks.
So I think conversing is the same kind of thing. People just don't do it as much, especially with the pandemic. Some people were alone. Their only interaction was short tweets or posts online. There wasn't a lot of
In
depth.
college, I remember one of
Yeah.
the biggest things in my like senior thesis class. They're like, "What do you guys want to learn?" And majority of the class said, "We want to learn how to network."
Mhm.
And I was like, "I don't really think you can like learn that. Like, sure, you can like kind of explain like, hey, here's networking things, but
Yeah.
like." I came up with a paper that was about how smoking cigarettes was the best networking tool that I had. And it was awesome. And it was great because I was like, if you wanted to smoke a cigarette and we're on set,
Yeah.
we now walked off of set.
Yeah.
It's just me and whoever it is, and we are now having the most casual conversation.
Mm.
And if we do this every single day, like 3 times a day
Mhm.
during set, they will start calling me. And I was like 18 at the time. They're like,
Yeah.
"Hey, Matt, you want to go grab a smoke?" And somebody's like, "How the fuck does this person know who the fuck this little
Yeah.
young kid is?"
Yeah.
I
Interesting.
smoke cigarettes with him. That was it.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I
And,
think,
and,
I think
and they didn't want to talk about work. Like, I
Mhm.
didn't go out there and I was like, "Man, set today, the blah, blah, blah." Like, no, we went out and he's like, "Man, I went fishing this weekend." You're like, yeah. Now you're in this like very one-on-one conversation.
Yeah.
It was very personable. That was my
Hmm.
senior thesis.
That's interesting. That's an interesting thesis. Because I mean, it's a tool. It was
Yeah.
a tool.
And I
was-
used it. I was like, I would smoke cigarettes, but I wasn't like, I didn't go home and smoke cigarettes. I literally like stopped smoking as soon as I walked off set.
You just did it as a tool to get to make connections.
Yeah, it was great. Because I could go out there
Mhm.
without a lighter. Guess what? Now that's my end to be like, "Oh, hey, man, you got a lighter?"
Yeah.
They'd light it up.
Huh. Yeah. I mean, that's
I was like, but how do you teach that to somebody? How do you like, hey, networking is literally having normal conversations with people.
yeah. You can't teach that. I don't
No,
think.
you have to want it. Like you have
Yes.
to want to. So I'm a little older than you all. So I actually had a real job before the web was created. So I have a frame of reference here. Lots of things in my world different from those 10 years, before the web. In the work world,
Mhm.
a lot different.
Mhm.
People, I mean, the way you communicated was you called somebody on the phone,
Mhm.
or you walked over to the cubicle
Mhm.
and you looked them in the eye and you talked to them, and and I think it taught younger people in the workforce that this is how you get shit done.
Mhm.
You had to take an action, you verbalize, present yourself, and then the web came, and then the following generations learned to hide a little bit, behind the screen in their
Mhm.
communication, and it became shorter and more curt. And I'm not saying it's worse or better or worse, because it depends on where you find yourself on the timeline,
Mhm.
I guess. But I wonder if the process of thinking through things for the average person, the average first world person, that's been around a while, like me.
Mhm.
Was it different? Did we do deeper thinking before the web? Were we able to ask the next question and the next question
Mhm.
to try to come to the real meaning, whether it's a definition of a word, a problem, a circumstance, or something that needed contemplation? We're more inclined to do that before the web was here.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I think, I do, because I think before the web, you had to figure out where to even look, right? So your thinking had to start almost as the precursor to solving the problem. Where do I even look to solve the problem? Now it's, where to go to solve the problem. Now it's just, how do you refine that search? Like, how do you refine the way you solve the problem? I think.
Yeah, but do you remember how you used to have to cite the books that you read
That was
them
the
out of?
worst. Yeah, that was the worst. I remember
So
that.
it's not like you could just make up bullshit and go look online and say,
Right.
"Hey, I found it from this site." You had to cite actual published things that
right.
were real
You had to
things.
cite it the right way.
Yes.
And I mean, now, I think, look, I love technology, and I think we are on the breakout of a revolution with AI and just the way it's going to, I truly believe this is like it was right before the internet came out. It is going to change the way all of us in this room
It's the next
operate.
thing.
It's the next thing that's not going anywhere. I think people need to understand that doesn't eliminate the need to think. And I think people that can critically think and know how to ask those next questions will be head and shoulders above people a year or 2 years from now, because they're just relying on AI and technology to figure out the questions to ask. But it's almost an intuitive skill Like I have to be able to sit in a room as a lawyer. I have to be able to sit in a room with someone and understand what is the next question I need to ask by watching their body language, listening to their voice, hearing the word choices they make to say they're not telling me something. There's something missing behind what is going on. And I have to have, one, the intuition, two, the balls to ask the next really uncomfortable question. And that's a skill set that AI won't replace. So I think people need to understand. I just had this discussion in our office this week. I said, we talked about it too, like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, if you had technical skills, like you were a rock star. You were like, that's the guy we wanted. Now it's like, do you have people skills? Can you talk to people?
In our industry too.
It's actually reversed.
I mean, because think about it, that's why people like you. You have people skills. Like you're not a typical accountant. That's why you're successful in what you do. Because you're not relying on just the technical side of it. You have to be able to talk to a person, understand that person. Like, and that's a skill set. Like I tell the young lawyers in my office, like if you just practice law and just do tactical, you will be commoditized in 12 to 18 months. But if you understand people and how to get people to trust you, like you, believe you, and provide them peace of mind, you will be indispensable to that.
So it's about the human relationship.
That's what it's moving to, and that's what it's going to be about for the next 20 years.
To me, that's exciting.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I see it. I mean, everybody else might differ, but that's how I see it completely.
I've been real interested in the psychology of money recently, just people's perspective of finance and money, because I'm trying to explain things to them, and sometimes it's just like,
wait, explain more.
They're not coming from the same place.
I'm intrigued.
If I could go back and be a young person now with the internet, instead of going to college, I'd potentially think of ways to combine different databases of knowledge into your brain. So instead of just like getting a degree in something, be like, well, finance and psychology, and put those two things together to help from a tactical standpoint.
But like, what's your use case for it?
So when I explain things to people, it's complex gobbledygook tax stuff, but I have such a experience base and knowledge base with it. To me, things are easier. So I'm trying to think like, well, how do you think money is? Like, I've got some clients that have never had a credit card, never had a line of credit, don't have any loans, their parents were very bad with debt, and they don't have a good emotional relationship with it. So they don't understand it at all. So how do you explain to somebody what a credit card is, or how to use it, or when it's good or when it's bad? Like, because they don't have anything.
But is it on their output or their input?
It just in general.
Okay, I'm just curious because like I know that some people, like when me and David talk about it, we're like, these people who make X, Y, Z, they think it's a lot, and then there's other people who think that's a little.
Yeah, even like, that is how much this person like is afraid to put $100 on a credit card.
Yeah, I think, and then like even we've all talked before. It's like if we feel strapped, we go work harder, and then you just make the money.
Yeah, but when do you feel strapped? Some people feel strapped where it's like I only have the next day's money in my bank account. Other people like I could live for 10 years.
Yeah, that's where you're just like,
but the money's not coming in anymore. It's this weirred psychology.
Yeah, I go like money. This with it. I'm like, this is what it is to me.
But it's funny because I was listening to a podcast like 2 weeks ago, and they were talking about about wealth, and this guy was saying his grandmother, who was passed, she said she was the wealthiest person he met, and she lived off $30,000 a year because like her life was about gardening. Being out in the sun, that's all, and she had plenty of money to do. That's all she wanted to do. So I think wealth is relative, right? Money's relative. It's
same with success.
Yeah. He was saying I have tens of millions of dollars. I'm nowhere where I want to be. My grandmother, who lived off government assistance at $30,000 a year for the last 20 years of her life, was, in his opinion, the wealthiest person because she woke up every day and did exactly what she wanted to do and had the means to do that. And to me, so that's kind of part
and she
of the
desired little.
Yeah, I mean,
less you desire,
I like
less
the
you have to
psychology
become.
behind money.
Yeah, for a lot of people, money's like this barrier to what they think happiness or material things that they want.
Yeah, I'm in my 20s. I looked at it like that. Like when I came to law school, it was like money was the marker. Like that was. Now I look at it as it's just a tool. It's a tool to accomplish. Like you always tell me I spend more money in the firm than I should. So it's like, I mean, but it's because
I absolutely believe that.
He does, but I look at it as a tool. It's a tool to how do I keep moving the needle? How do I keep moving the ball down the field? It's not about you want to put some in your pocket,
but you also don't want to be stagnant. So like that,
Correct.
but that's the difference of like
Exactly
our mindset
right.
is like, hey, if we make this and we just keep making this every single year, well then
I'm
I don't want to
pissed.
just keep doing this.
Yeah.
Like, sure, this is great, but like
Exactly.
we have a very like what's next mindset.
Well, that's exactly what this year. Like I just had this discussion with we went to that EOS. Like I said, I've been feeling stuck because we're growing a little. I was so used to growing every year, like revenue wise, like at 20 to 30%. This year we're not growing like that, so I feel it's not as exciting because we're still at a great spot growth wise, and we're doing things, but it's stagnant to me. It's not that excitement of like what is the next thing. So that's what I'm trying to figure out now. That's where I'm stuck a little bit, and it comes down to the psychology of it, and it's a good point.
Because some people I talk to, they're a little bit different entrepreneurs. They grew a business, it's successful, and now they want to spend time with their family. They're still they're stuck in this mindset of these entrepreneurial groups where it's like grow, and their relationships are struggling with their family life, whatever else. It's like, hey, you've built a successful company. You could change your revenue goal to your time goal. You want to grow your free time, get people in there, help your
See,
personal
I like
life.
that. That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, different.
I mean, yeah, totally.
Pop that one on.
Pop what on?
The other
Oh,
one.
that one. Okay. I don't know what you're telling me to do. I was like, pop what on? The lava lamp? It's already on, man.
There you go.
Oh, I get the special named ones.
Well, no, but it's that one is
Right.
right. You know, when we do the other live stream, everything's reversed, and
Oh, maybe that's why. I don't know.
There you go.
Seriously, I'm kind of a big deal.
I'm indifferent to this.
I'm also
You're
indifferent.
indifferent.
I mean,
Why
I'm
you put
just-
that on yours?
I'm naked over here. I don't have anything.
Here, man.
there. Wait.
There's one right there. Stands on
Are
yours.
you really? Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go.
Living dangerously, man?
Well, do enough podcasts, and you get one.
Yeah, see.
There we go.
I like that conversation of psychology because I think
I've
it's
just been
very
thinking because there's so many aspects.
It's psychology
so
of money.
Yeah,
I
there's
keep
so many.
when I'm trying to explain things, that's always seems to be the barrier I'm running into, where it's like, oh, this person doesn't know about that, or this person doesn't know about interest rates, or they can't connect all these relatively simple concepts, just layer on top of each other to get this complex system, which is what a lot of our financial things
But they're
are.
simple to you. Remember, they're simple concepts to you.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
I guess.
You know?
Yeah.
I
But
also
even
have,
some
like-
of them boil down to it's 1 + 1 is 2. It's just
But I think about it the same way as a lawyer. I'm like, how do people not understand that you need this basic thing? But it's foreign to them because they don't do it. It's how do you get into a business discussion with a third party, telling them the secrets of your business without signing a non-disclosure agreement or something like that. Like it's just like
But even
not
that you
signing a
could
contract.
boil it down to simple concepts where it's like you're going to give them critical information about your business. They could then take that critical information and do something else with it. Like
Yes.
they're relatively simple,
But the
but
problem
they
is,
don't connect. Like
correct. Most people just trust. They're like, well, they're not going to take it. I'm like, well,
Well, they could be.
let's.
Well,
make
your
sure.
ability to have that type of conversation with
Yeah.
a client
Yeah.
is what AI will never be able to do.
Exactly. That's exactly right. You're 100% right, and that's what I keep stressing. It's AI can get the information, and we use it in
now.
our practice. But I mean,
No.
it really is. If you understand, it's powerful. Like it really is. Like, I play around with it a lot, and we use it in our practice to make things more efficient. But it won't be able to replace the human interaction.
Not in our lifetime.
No, I don't think so. Unless there's robots coming out.
I mean, from a creativity standpoint, it's not a thing.
Yeah, you don't think?
It's just depends on what it is. Sure, it can like copy and come close to certain things, but it's not.
Well, that's right. So it's like that's the same thing I say.
Like I
you
just
are-
don't feel threatened by certain aspects of it. Which now video is totally it's on the table.
Oh yeah.
That's very on the table.
but it's
Well-
at least an idea generator.
Sure.
Remember back in the day, you guys were in music. You look trying to come up with a band name. You're going through the dictionary and magazines trying to come up with cool words.
Yeah.
Now you
can
just
say,
say,
like,
"Hey, give me 100 cool band names."
give me
ChatGPT.
5.
It's like make them darker, make them happy, make
Yeah.
them Pittsburgh
That's
based.
interesting.
You know,
Meat axe.
But then it's like, and then I mean, in the next 5 minutes, I could find a band, write a song, probably get the chords out of it, and then also make an album cover.
yeah, and a website and social
Now-
media. Like,
I know that it could probably figure out how in a few years, or there's probably some side thing that actually there is already AI, like straight up music makers.
Mm-hmm.
Get that done, and I could slap all of that together, and within 15 minutes, I have a full album. 6 songs,
Yeah.
8 songs, however many I want, and I can put that out. Is it good?
It's good enough.
Good in the music industry today, you know.
And that's where it's like, all right, are people going to buy that? I mean, there is all the rage that like somebody makes an AI children's book and they get it published, and sure you can do that, but like, is it good? I don't know. Like,
I think
is it
people
flying
making
off the
money.
shelves?
Does it make money?
Are you trying to make? So then this goes back to the psychology of money. Why am I doing this? If I wanted to make a children's book and I used AI at any aspect of it at all, I'm using it to make it for my kids. I don't even care about selling it. I don't want to make money off of it. I'm going to do it, make it, and be like, hey, look, kids, here's like a story that kind of revolves around us, you, and has these little notes in it. Somebody else could find it sitting in my kid's room one day and be like, man, this is a great book, you know? But mind you, I would also have my pieces in it.
Yeah.
Do I care to sell that? No.
But
Now there's people out there who have the psychology of money of like, this is an easy way for me to get rich fast.
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening with AI.
And then I'd call up Rocco and say, we need to license this person. And then I'd call up Stan and be like, what's my overhead on this? But you know what I mean? But also, they don't want to go through that process. They're then going to go find a free, simple publisher. They're going to skip all these steps. How can I limit my overhead and do like direct to consumer?
AI will replace mediocre professionals.
Yes,
Like, that's what it
I mean,
does.
I think it already has.
It has. Like take creatives for instance, right? Like you can't replace what you do. But if I have a video editor like Opus Clips, right? You send a video, say, hey, cut this up. I can go in the Opus, which I did today, put a podcast in.
It's amazing.
In 3 minutes, it gave me like 30 clips that were almost perfect.
And that's the thing about Opus Clips is it's almost there.
Right, but then
but it's the thing is, it's good enough.
It's good enough.
It's good enough.
And for someone like me who's just I'm not making movies. I'm just putting out content.
Now, do you want to know the best part to me? That is,
what's that?
That takes the stupidest thing off of my plate.
Right. Exactly. That's exactly
I don't want to
right.
fucking do that in the first place.
Exactly right.
If you were to hand me this podcast and it's an hour and a half long and you're like, pull 5 clips from it, I'd be like, first off, I don't know what kind of clips you want out of this.
Well,
Second off, like, I don't even fucking know.
Well, for the first 5 years of this podcast, that's why I never did this.
Yeah,
because I didn't want to take the time to do it. It's my own podcast, and I don't want to do it.
Yeah, now it's so powerful you can do it, and that's.
But the thing is, like, they'll be good enough.
Exactly, that's it.
And that's all. And
with me spending 10 minutes on each one, I can tweak it. They become really good.
Yeah,
exactly.
What I mean?
That's exactly right.
Yeah, does that mean that I'm going to be out of a job?
No, not at all.
I hope I'm out of that job. I never want to fucking do
Right,
that job.
exactly.
You know,
I can't wait till AI can do tax returns. Let's go.
And that's what I mean. Like that's to me, that's the biggest thing. It's like, hey, that's one less thing that I can take off, and it's the low hanging fruit that I don't want to fucking do in the first place.
Yeah, that's exactly
because
right.
I'm working on a bigger, better production
Yes.
that actually gets paid out better.
Yes, exactly. That's it. Like,
That's just something I would hire like an intern for.
Well,
and that kid would also hate his life. He'd do that for 2 weeks, and he'd be like, "Yeah, fuck you, I'm done with this job." And I'd be like, "I'm sorry, brother."
So in our industry, though, that was the learning. That was the way in to learn the foundation. Yes. So without that, now, this back to like the conversation, people can't converse anymore. You're missing this sort of base level of really easy things that you can practice over and over and over again and get your reps in to build that skill that you'll then use at a higher level. So we're missing that in a lot of things. I mean, because of
absolutely. But see, for me, I'm just looking for. I don't even want that level, to be honest. Like, I'm giving you, hey, here's a project. It's already like a tier above that.
But if I don't know anything about video, I get to see well, here's the frame.
If you don't even know the words video, then I'd be like, I'm so sorry. This isn't the place for.
Well, if I know.
Now, if you could
like I learned in
secretly
school, so I have like
Opus
a book
clips
knowledge.
in the background, and you say, "Hey, I did this," and I'd be like, "Oh, that's not bad." You can save your job as an intern with that.
Well, let me use my industry because I can speak about it. I talk to CFOs now that don't know basic accounting principles. Like, they couldn't make a simple journal entry to fix something on their books because they didn't have to do all that. So they kind of know high-level stuff, but when they have to know how that affects the little nitty-gritty stuff and then comes back out on the other high end, they can't make that transition. Mm-hmm. So it's just like, well, I'm here and I know what's happening, but I don't know what I push out that affects it and then comes back up.
Is
I
it
don't know
because
where
they,
we
like,
are now.
And they skipped those steps
Because they
like,
never had, they didn't
never-
have to do, like people younger than me didn't have to do a bunch of journal
But why is
entries.
that? So then, how they get to that point?
They just learned in school. They just learned the base stuff, and it's like, oh well, good enough.
Because see, for me, it's like if you're not good at it, then you're just not good at it. So
you're good at like 50% of it. So if you kind of try and stay in your lane most of the time,
oh, for like CFOs.
yeah.
Okay.
But then like they can't. Oh, there's a payroll problem. Well, I never did payroll.
Never did. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I don't have it. Like with us, it's a very like all of this or none of it.
It's kind of the
It's
same way. You could
painting,
just
like-
fake it because you
yeah.
wouldn't know.
Yeah.
I'm just going to talk to you about the 50% I know, and
Yeah.
you don't know there's another 50% I'm just fudging. Not me, but this hypothetical.
No, I totally get it.
Every profession is getting impacted by it, and I think it is impacting the skill sets of people coming out now because, to your point, like they're not learning the basics. Or now they can flip it and use it to learn the basics really fast.
But I also can track that back to just not even AI, but just social media in general.
Sure.
Has flipped a lot of it.
Sure.
So, and I mean, we've had this conversation
Yeah.
about just like a person who's not a lawyer saying, "Hey, here's how to start your LLC," and you're like, "No, this is some random ass influencer. Like,
Yeah.
this is."
And they're wrong.
Oh yeah,
And then
the
Rocco's
TikTok
also like, "You
tax
can
advice.
sue
look
this
out.
person because it's
Well, and
practicing
that's,
law."
like,
And they're
well, because look, I'll have sometimes potential clients that'll call and just say, well, I can just do, and I'll quote them a price. I'm like, well, I can just do this, with chat. I said, great. I said, who are you going to sue when it goes wrong? ChatGPT,
Yeah.
or yourself? Because do you even know what you need? Like, you think you need this type of contract? Do you know what goes in that type of contract? Do you know what happens when the comma is out of place? Do you know what happens in these 10 situations that I've seen in the past year that you never even heard of? Like, how are you? And that's where people they have this unrealistic reliance on AI. Rely on it for what you do. If you're trying to do other people's jobs or professions using it, like I would not go to ChatGPT and say, "Hey, do a tax return for me." So I'm like, I don't know what that's why I have you.
Yeah, it's not there
Like,
yet.
I don't want to do that. But like even Excel, like creating, yes, you can go on there and create formulas and do all these charts and shit. But if I don't know the one thing I need to know to put in there, the output will be completely wrong, and I'll be relying on output that doesn't make sense for what I need. And that's why I think it's the psychology of all this is people have developed this unrealistic reliance on a piece of technology that's amazing, but it's amazing for certain things and not for things you don't know about.
So what about us that makes us immediately think it's going to solve the world's problems?
Laziness. People don't. I mean, because again,
have you seen Wall-E?
That's a negative view.
What that it's laziness?
Laziness.
Well, I think that's my initial reaction. I think people go to it as the quick solution,
Mhm.
right? Because they don't want to spend the time thinking through the solution.
But not all solutions require
I
or
understand.
deserve the time. Like Matt's book idea, that'd be cool for a kid. I'm never going to sit down and write a book and then draw
Sure.
pictures and then get it
Sure.
and like figure all
But
that
I
out.
also-
But going to ChatGPT and making it happen is like cool for my kid.
But that's because that's the reason why you're doing it. But if I'm in the business of creating children's books, and I'm going to keep using, I don't really know how to create a children's book. I'm just using
Well, that's a-
technology.
But you're in the
problem.
business. Yeah, but,
Well, that's
so
what-
you're the CFO who
but
only
this-
knows the 50%
right, yeah.
about
this
the
is what's
cover.
happening now. You're having these young kids start these marketing agencies.
Yes.
That are relying on AI to do everything.
Yeah,
they
that's
don't
different.
understand the
That's
fundamental principles of marketing.
Well, I mean, and that still ties into all of the video kids who are growing up on social media.
Right.
And everybody's like, oh, you don't need to go to film school. And I'm like, that's great and all. You learned everything through YouTube.
Right.
But when you have to deal with an actual client who wants a real set,
Mhm.
and you have to hire a grip and a gaffer and a hair and a makeup artist, and you
Yeah.
have to hire this, and you have to have your insurances and all these other things,
Mm-hmm.
they're like, wait, but it's just me and my camera.
Right.
And you're like, yeah,
Or me and my iPhone.
yeah.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of people doing that, and again, but that comes down to what do people want, good or good enough, and that's where again it comes down to all the.
I know
psychology
even
of everything.
agencies. I just saw an agency that did this video, and I know for a fact that they charged a lot for it, and it looks like shit.
Yeah.
And I was like, the worst part is, me by myself could make that look way better.
Yeah.
Do you think all of this has lowered society's appetite for appreciating
good
video
stuff.
and
Yes.
other
That's where
good
we're
things.
going next.
Yes, that is.
Because
yes.
my biggest thing that I always tell people is, hey, Stan, I don't even know if you do video, but you need better video. You know what I mean? Like
I get those website people all the time. I can improve your website.
Yeah,
but like the worst part is I will never go out of my way to advertise like that. I don't have a website. I don't have anything. There's you.
Mm-hmm.
If you know and you see something that you like, you're like, oh man, I saw that video. Rocco, who did your video? Rocco would say, Matt did it.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't even have to advertise because it's just that much better than, no offense, everybody else's.
Yeah.
Like sure, there's also a lane for like kids who do sports photography. That's great. They're the CFO who's stuck in that 50%, and then they need to go do a car spot or something like that.
Right.
They're like, I've never done this before.
But even like if you grow up only seeing crappy YouTube videos or things your friends post, and you get into that industry, is that just your version now? Like I'm going to make a video that looks like I'm holding an iPhone and walking around the mall or whatever.
That's
And
why
is that now acceptable?
and that's now good.
Yeah.
You know, that's art.
So it's lowered the bar. And that's where I wanted to go, because the next question I had for you is, well, I'll preface it by saying this.
Makes me hate it, just so you know.
I'm sure it does.
I'm indifferent.
To your point, you guys are rough. To your point, about 2 years ago, there was a phenomenon that happened because there was a new Beatles track, magically. And they talked to Paul McCartney, and they talked to Ringo Starr, and they talked to just those two, I guess. And they said, well, we haven't collaborated. And AI had created a new Beatles song.
Okay, interesting.
Because
Did they release it as the Beatles?
No. But it was out there though, and
I do remember it.
And it was just they crunched all this Beatle data, all their songs, their catalogs, into this formula, and then this thing created a song. And now it's very prevalent. You can buy new Kiss songs and new Fleetwood Mac songs. It's crazy.
Wow.
So my question to you is, if you're an artist right now, I'm talking about a visual artist, a painter, right?
Like a visual or a musical or any just art.
Just say you're a painter.
Okay, painter.
You know, I got a friend, Mia Tarducci, big painter in Pittsburgh here. She's phenomenal. She paints, and then she goes on the web and sees things in her style, visually done with AI, and being sold for pennies on the dollar. My question is, what's going to happen to the artists in our society over the next decade? Will we somehow start qualifying art as AI art, and there's a whole arena of commercial availability there, and then quote unquote human art, and that'll be the premium art that'll hopefully command top dollar? Do you see that happening from a consumer standpoint? Or is that a wishful thinking?
The first thing that popped in my head is you've still got handcrafted furniture. It's basically human-made furniture versus whatever factory machines push out for things.
Yeah,
it's very true. You're gonna have both. You're always gonna have both.
Yeah, and I agree. I think if people have an appreciation for art, they're going to appreciate art.
That's the difference.
If they just want something cool to look at, they're going to buy whatever's cheapest. Because I'm not a person that likes art, right? Like I'm not an art person. There are certain things I like that I will spend money on. I'm not going to because I collect certain things, right? I like watches, so I will always buy a nice timepiece because regardless of how many cool ones are out there.
The argument can be made, that's art.
But true. But what I'm saying is, like, if you are a person who appreciates art,
the visual arts.
But I think people that appreciate art understand what goes into art.
Yeah.
The effort, the human effort put into it, the time, the technique. That like, I'm paying this dollar because someone spent hundreds of hours.
But are you in this example? What if there's a really nice timepiece you go to buy, and you find out later it was designed by AI, made by robots. A human wasn't involved in the whole thing, but it looks cool.
Like I go to art festivals and buy art. I love art. But I also have my lock screen is an AI photo of me with my cat.
Right. So you're kind of taking the position that AI can't make art, or it's not written.
Because this is just for me personally. I'm like, it's a funny photo, and I like it.
I'm not.
But I've bought art from artists that I appreciate and I like a lot.
Yeah.
All the time.
And I'm not taking the position that AI can't create art. I'm taking the position that people like what they like, and people that appreciate art are going to buy that art regardless of whether AI is there or not.
Okay.
People are going to. So to
I'm
me,
still
it's
going to go buy more art, even though I
Yeah.
can do something like that. I'm like, that's not stopping me at all. That's something fun, which sure, if I wanted somebody to do that, I'd have to go hunt for that person and find that exact art. But I'm like, I love buying art from all types of places.
I think it'd be interesting if it was like it probably wouldn't say AI art, but this would be like handcrafted art or however, whatever nomenclature would be used in the future.
It's weird. It's a weird time.
But it's
a
also
weird
because
time.
I like the artists that do the art. So I also always want to support those artists. Like I probably have like 10 artists that I know
Right.
that I really like them, and I will always support them.
I get that, but I would venture to say too, though, that art appreciation is kind of a specific thing. I
Sure.
wouldn't say it's widely.
But I
No.
think that
You know?
fits with every single, like, look at
Not in America.
Yeah, I think you're right, but don't you think AI might make that specificity even narrower now?
All right, let's take a look around your room. You've got 2 art pieces right here.
No.
And that, yes. All right, so who did those?
Paul Stanley of Kiss did that, and Tom McGallis did those two.
So, like, you know the artists. I know Tom McGallis. And you like their art, so you bought their art. Can you make something like that and throw it up?
Yeah, part of it's the story.
100%. I think
Yeah,
I think
that's-
95% of it is the story.
And look, AI is here.
Actually,
AI is a way for people to make money now. Like truly, there should be no excuse for anybody to say I can't make money. If you spend time learning, you can make money with AI. When you're talking about something that is like art or something that's collectible that has a uniqueness to
Like
it,
a human expression.
that takes someone's thought and tactical skill to do, I think there's always going to be an appreciation of that.
I forgot to add that photo on my lock screen is an actual photo that I took.
Interesting.
Just
So-
distorted.
I just made it a cartoon.
Okay.
So that was the only thing that I added to AI. I said, hey, here's a photo that I took that I actually framed and did all that
Right.
stuff. Just make this a cartoon because I just wanted it to be a funny, colorful cartoon.
Those who actually want to be in the arts for their vocation, visual artists, musicians, they have to feel like they're under attack. I remember
100% they do.
I remember when
Yeah.
Napster hit in 2000, and then being in the guitar business for a period of time and getting to talk to some national artists and just seeing how their ASCAP checks from the 70s, 80s, and 90s all of a sudden just fell off a cliff in 2001 because of technology. I mean,
they all,
like 80%.
especially
you know?
like actual artists, all feel like they're under attack. And I mean, even there's some brands that are like, hey, we could jump on the AI train right now, but like we actually want to find those brands. There's somebody who did it and they did it phenomenally. They were like, we want to find the artist who can do this and we will pay you for this. Because even though like I took that picture, I still hired an actual artist to do a family photo of all of my whole family. So like, and that's because I wanted it done so that it's going to hang on my wall so everybody could see it and it's nice. I refuse to do that through
The people that are
AI.
going to buy art are the same people that buy knockoff Louis Vuitton bags.
But
Rolex
what if it
watches.
gets so good you don't know? Like if you just hear a song on the radio, if there still is radio,
But that also goes for
and it's just AI, but nobody told you.
the same thing with purses and
Yeah,
stuff.
I mean,
If I like it, I'm just going to like it. I mean,
and that, yeah, and I agree with that. I'm not saying that that's the case, but I think people that truly are aficionados when it comes to luxury things or art, they're gonna know the difference. Like
Even music, it's like, do you think that if you knew that it was an AI song and you listened to it and you liked it and somebody was
That's
like,
what
hey,
just-
this is an AI song.
Would it matter to
no,
you?
yeah. If I like it, I like it. There's going to be a less
Right.
like you can't get into their backstory, how
Right.
they get
Yeah,
here,
but I
who's
think
the
tapestry
band.
of it all,
Yeah,
right.
you lose
Which
a
is the
little bit
same
of the
thing as
depth.
like actual art. It's like now you lost the story of the paintings. You lost the story of why they're writing this.
Well, let me ask you. So
Yeah.
the argument can be made too, because I also like watches, not to the extent that you do, but to me, the watch houses in Switzerland, the big ones, there was an incredible, insane amount of technology and art in the crafting of those timepieces. That's part of the tapestry of watch collecting.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
For most collectors. I mean, there's a dollar value and it can be speculative and all that stuff.
Yes.
But in the end, it's an incredible feat of mechanical aptitude there.
Yes, hand.
Correct. So my question to you is, as Stan mentioned, if you found out that there was a piece that you wanted, I don't know what the price would be, but it was, let's say, the first AI-generated high-end timepiece that was actually made and designed by Rolex.
Mm-hmm.
And it was for sale. And let's say it was comparable to the handmade pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Would you buy it?
Honestly,
Based upon your personality, would you buy it?
I don't know. I'd have to see it. I'd honestly have to see it.
And that goes back to you knowing what you like.
Exactly.
It's like,
If
am I
going to
appreciate this thing as?
Yeah, it comes down to the appreciation, right? Because there are certain watch brands I like, and some of them aren't still made by hand. Some of them are machine made. I understand, but they have the mechanics inside. So to me, it's like what I like about watches: the mechanical inside and the potential value as an investment, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yes, if there was an AI created watch that was done. And it felt the way I liked. It had the mechanics inside that I liked, and it had the potential to increase in value. And it looked how I wanted it to look. I would buy it because there are many watch brands that are very like obscure, and I mean only so many made. I don't like. It's just not my style. Like I know what I like, and to your point, like you said, like if there was a song made by AI I didn't know and I liked it, I'm not gonna not like the song because it's done by AI. I'm not gonna not like a watch because it's done by AI. What I was meaning to say is that there's still going to be an appreciation for the handmade things. Like you said it perfectly. There's still handcrafted furniture. Like
it's handcrafted guitars too. I mean, there's CNC
so
machine guitars. Now there's AI. There's 3D printing guitars.
That's also what I went like around your room. Now you also have guitars. All of this stuff.
Think about farmers markets that people go to. There's handcrafted food, like handcrafted things that people go there and spend more money than they should on a bag of fucking granola because someone made it in their kitchen.
I was going to say
Well,
carrots.
that's back to the perception of money a little bit too that people don't think about is externally you're sort of voting for products every time you spend a dollar.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So back to the watches, if they're both the same price and they're both the same enjoyment level, you could think about it like, well, I want to support whoever made this, that person's job, or this company if it's a different company.
Yeah,
people don't think about that either.
That's a good point.
See, that's daily life. I mean, that is what I think about when it comes to art. I'm like, I do want to support you, and I want to make sure that, like, sure, I could rip this off an AI, but I don't want to. I would rather.
Yeah, but that's how when Napster back in the day too. Right. But then it's like, but I want the song now. Yeah. So
no, I get it.
But it's also like,
and then your computer crashes.
That's one of those societies slowly
high risk.
Think about this. Like I still like to go to restaurants where I'm served by someone because I like the service. I want to support those places that haven't adopted kiosks for everything.
Yeah,
and robot technology to deliver their food. Like, it's cool, but like there's that sushi place down on the south side. Like, it's with the conveyor belt one, and they have robots that come over and bring you drinks. It's like that's cool. Like I
try it once. Yeah,
I like the human interaction. Like there's always going to be a support of the human element of things.
It almost seems like the human experience in an AI world will be a premium. I hope.
Yeah.
Well, what if it gets degraded just like all the other things? And
over time, over a couple generations, it might. We can't predict for sure, but yes, you could see a trend where that could happen, especially as AI continues to learn and get better and better and more human-like. That's the fear.
Well, that's the scary because when you were at the
those bots, you can't necessarily tell that they're not.
No.
Sometimes people call me and I'm trying to I'm not sure if this is a real person or not.
I mean,
it could be a poor communicating real person or a really good communicating AI bot.
And think about like with the handling you went to. That guy said that the IQ of AI by the end of this year will be 1,000. 1,000.
Yeah, what it's 170 or something now.
150 right now. He said Einstein's IQ was 170. It's 150 right now. By the end of this year, it'll be about 1,000
with just exponential increase. So that's when you say like it can't do this. It's like, well,
right.
If it's going to get that much better that quickly,
we could all be made by AI right now and just brought back, and we don't even know because it's so far advanced in the future. That could be.
You know what? I wouldn't hate that.
But to your point on the agent thing, like that's like if I'm a lawyer and I could spend 3 hours on a Sunday figuring out how to build AI agents through a website. I'm not a technology guy. Like, I know enough about it, but I literally spent 3 hours on a Sunday, and I've built agents that literally can automate things that I do. And that's not what I do. Think about people that know how to do this shit and are doing it all the time. How you don't know what's happening. Like, I'm getting calls all the time. Are these real people or not? Because it's so. I can create. I use an app today. Like when I do video that has like scripts. There's an option on there where I can now create an AI avatar of myself with my face, my voice, and just give it a script, and it'll do the video. Like, I haven't tried it yet.
That's what I was talking about.
But it's like, holy shit! Like, that's these deep fake videos that are coming out, and if someone doesn't know me well enough, like, they might think that's really me. Like, that's what's happening right now.
And it's going to be 10 times better by the end of the year.
Right. That's what I mean. Like, think about that. Like, by the end of this year, I'd be like, I don't remember being on that show. Like, what the fuck?
I mean, but you can also do that straight up with like full-fledged movies.
That's what I mean. Like, that's going to be AI created movies.
Okay, so let's end this with our one last question here, and that is, at what point is reality not going to be believable anymore? And because we talked about it, we've been talking about this for years as this has evolved. Like, this is physical reality, and a part of our life is spent in the virtual reality. And for the very young that are doing the VR gaming, that more of their life is being spent potentially in a virtual reality. How much of our reality is going to be hard to believe in the coming years? And how does that, on a big picture, how does that affect like the institutions of society? I'll
let someone else talk.
We've bounced the idea around of what truth is, like,
I think we'll have
right
a bounce
and wrong,
back
left
of
and right.
culture.
Yeah.
But like even like law, believing in laws and so forth, the bedrocks that hold the fabric of society together, the iconic things that keep us from killing each other, and are they going to erode over time because we're not going to know what to believe is real, right, wrong. We're just not. Everything's going to start to blur together and left up to human interpretation, and that's the scary part to me.
That's that AI guy we were talking to kind of alluded to the fact that everybody's going to have to change the way they think about things.
Yeah,
so
you're
like,
right.
Instead of, AI can make videos, what if instead of Netflix, you sit down and ask AI, like, hey, tonight I want to watch an action thriller with a guy that looks like this in this country, kind of with this plot line, like, let's go. And then it literally creates a movie on the spot for you. Or like, I want to be in it. I'm the main character, whatever.
Yeah, it's gonna change, I believe, in our lifetime. Probably within the next 5 years, our reality is gonna be completely different.
But that's why I think that like the bounce back of culture is going to kick in, and it'll be fought by it.
Like how often in history has that happened, though?
Well, it's never happened. You've never had a chance to have that happen.
Well,
because people that used to do like Shakespearean plays, and then TV came out, and they're like, well,
but there's still plays, and like the theater world is still pretty darn thriving.
But it's not Netflix.
No, it's not. But it's also like there's.
Does anyone watch the Tonys? Really?
I mean, I'm taking my daughter to New York this summer, so Broadway's still a thing.
See what I mean? But it's also like
they're still
you were all,
but it used to be like everybody's thing,
but I think that's where I mean by culture. It doesn't have to be like culture in the terms of like this specific like in general. Like Rocco still appreciates that like Broadway, so he's gonna hold on to that. Like, and then I think at some time there will be this like bottleneck of like, oh shit, everybody's just going home, and you're like.
But will human interaction be like, oh, I'm going to go to New York this weekend with my daughter to talk to people that are real? Because I haven't done it in a couple months.
I mean,
well,
or it's a premium for people that have the means to.
I think it was always a premium for people.
Yeah, and I think.
But will communicating with people in real life become that because everything's just virtual?
I think communication, like we're the force doing right now, will become a luxury in 10 years. I think because people are going to get so like you just said, you didn't want to drive.
Yeah, that's you. So the difference is I gladly will. So I am the culture that's holding that still together. But you still showed up. So that means that you still...
And I still do things on the... I don't have social media. I'm not,
Yeah, so I think it will. I think culture will be impacted. I think there will be a lot of things...
I think other countries have it differently than we do. Like
Mhm.
and they're the culture that still has it. Like when the power went out in Spain and Portugal,
Mhm.
like literally 2 weeks ago or something like that, everybody came out in the street and had a great time. And sure, like there was a lot of flights delayed. There was
We lost our shit here.
like that's yeah.
That's the
Everybody would
Pittsburgh.
like
Because we're the
Yeah.
ultimate first
Yeah.
world country.
and everybody would like stand
Yes.
around. But also that's because we're so spread out. Like in America, we're literally
Yeah.
the suburbs. So if you lose your power, are you going to go ask your neighbor if they lost their power? You look out your window and go, they don't have power.
Yeah. That's
Everybody
right.
on the street doesn't have power. Now in like another country, if the power goes out, because it was the middle of the day
Yeah.
too when it went
Mhm.
out. So it's like you would literally go and knock on your neighbor's door and be like, "Hey, you guys got power?" And they're like, "Nah, man. Yeah, I think it's out for the whole street." And then they're like, "All right, well," because after that storm happened, it was beautiful outside.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If you lived in a place where there had culture and like it was walkability, why wouldn't you just go to
Well,
like
that-
a town square or something like that? And
that-
that's what all of
That's actually
them
a good
did.
point. I think America is set up almost to be anti-culture.
it always has been
But I mean,
since the terms of cars.
But no, but I mean, true. But I think there are urban centers. But I think like suburbs are truly anti-culture,
they are. Yeah.
right? Because when you think about it, to your point, like if the neighborhood's power's out, like I don't ever see people just hanging out in the street when the power's out. It's like everybody's sitting in their house. Like, when the fuck is the power coming back on? You see their iPhone flashlights on. These people in their cars
Not in the 40s.
charging their. Well, right. I mean,
Not in the 40s.
What I'm saying is it's shifted, but the 40s there was because there was nothing else to do.
Also, in the 40s,
Now
you
we have
still
more
lived
things to do.
closer. Like there wasn't a Walmart and a
Well, that's
supercenter
the other
mall,
thing,
like,
too,
and they're
like-
not dispersing you out further.
Yeah, you think about the 40s, like homes are more compact.
Everybody
It wasn't.
walked.
Now it's wider. There's more land. They've developed more property. So I think it's. I hope for our kids' sake that the human element and human interaction stay strong. People, because I try and stress to my kids and any of even the young lawyers that I mentor and just people I talk to in general, like develop the skill of talking to people. Because no matter what happens in society and with technology, if you have that skill to communicate and read a person and understand body language, that is a skill that will always be needed, truly, and it'll make you a better human being. I believe that.
So, just a real quick thing. Think about the fact that there's like all of the video games that you can
Mhm.
play sports on,
Yeah.
or all the kids who are playing the actual sports.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that goes back to like the 90s. But it's even pushed harder to now
Yeah.
because we have esports teams. So
Yes.
here's Jimmy, Joe, and Jack,
Yes.
and they're the best esports Madden players ever, and they have never thrown a football in their life.
Yes. That's exactly
So
right. Yeah.
they're a team of 3 people who play a whole football team, but then
Mhm.
there's a whole football team who still has culture and still
Yeah.
has like a team and camaraderie.
Yeah.
Sure, these 3 kids have camaraderie, but it's like they don't know what it's like to stand in front of a stadium. They don't know what it's like
Yeah.
to high five the other team after a loss and shake hands. And
And we're losing something there.
We are.
The human experience, there's elements of the human experience that
so
are
it's like
going
that, but
away.
that's been going for a while, and I don't think anybody's really
At,
like
at least those kids are talking to each other, though.
online
there's
sitting at
that.
home.
There's
Yeah.
that.
I think we all need to, if we do anything as a generation, like we're all in different generations. I think we are, but we should be pushing people to keep the connection because AI's here. It's not going anywhere. It's disconnecting people farther and farther. So that's why stuff like this podcast, in my mind, is important because you're getting people to sit in a room and talk and have discussions and just chat about whatever comes up. And this should be encouraged across the board because if we lose this as human beings, like 2 generations from now, forget it. It's gonna be the Matrix. It's literally gonna be that movie is literally, fortune telling. Like I feel like if we don't preserve the human element of society, we are all going to be fucking taking the red pill like Neo in the Matrix. Like,
I just hope that I can fly, though. That'd be pretty sick.
I wish I could just download something and do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu instead of trying to go with you.
Yeah, but then everybody else would also download it, and then you'd be subpar at everything along with everybody else.
Yeah, but not everybody.
You know, but what if
I want to be a
what if
two-stripe
we're
black
already
belt.
what if we're already in the Matrix? What if
We
we are
that's a
nothing but a
whole-
smear on a black hole, man?
Man, that's a whole other podcast. Because I feel like because in my mind, like, look, who knows? Like I always say, like
Would that change how you live your life?
No, it
No,
wouldn't change
not at all.
anything. But
I'd be like
That's
sick.
a great
it's
question.
not. It wouldn't change.
If some being came down and explained to everybody on let's say one big live broadcast, the being comes down and tells the Earth people, the reality is you are a 2-dimensional projection
Have you ever seen the three-body problem?
on a black hole.
Hmm.
And then how would humanity acknowledge that?
I mean,
ingest that and then react to
Like
that.
in the Matrix, they had the option of leaving and going
But
into
only
the real world.
only some people did.
Well, if they realized it.
Yeah.
But what if there wasn't another
like,
option?
so have you seen
living on the edge of a black hole doesn't seem like
What's that
another
movie?
option.
the three body problem? It's on
Yeah.
Netflix.
3-body
It's
problem.
a good book.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's a great book.
So wait, what's it about?
I'm gonna watch it.
I don't want to spoil anything.
It's hard to
don't-
explain
yeah, like
without.
yeah,
What's
what's
the
I was like,
premise?
Yeah, what's the premise?
Um,
Is it worth watching?
aliens.
It's stressful.
Yeah,
Stressful?
the
Yeah.
show. You should just
I had
watch
to
it.
turn
All right,
it
I'm gonna
off.
watch it.
You
Three
can-
body
you can watch the
what's it
show.
called?
Too stressful. The
Three-
3-body problem.
3-body problem.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm
But it's
gonna
what
watch
it
it.
has
That's-
a moment in
that's
it
something tonight.
I'm gonna watch
when
that.
it premises the entire world.
Okay.
Hey, how are you going to respond to literally your world being shattered? Essentially.
Shit.
Being being like
Did you enjoy the
inconsequential.
book?
Oh,
Because
man,
when you look up at
Literally.
It took a long
to
time
be-
because I had to
yeah,
like
when I
take a break.
when I like go for a walk at night,
Pretty much
and it's
just,
clear sky, and I look up and I see all those stars.
Okay.
Everything is inconsequential to me. at
Not
that
to
point.
like spoil it, but
Everything.
literally just picture aliens coming and saying you're bugs. You're all just
Well,
bugs.
cool. Okay, I'm fine with that.
You see what I'm? Yeah, but that's the problem. But like in
I get more hung up on how do we know one of us in this room isn't a time traveler?
uh,
Because I look at it like, think about how fast, just in the past year, how we've seen technology change. 100 years from now,
because I think somebody would have already gone back and said something about it.
what if you do that and you know you're not supposed to do that because it screws up everything?
I don't think you can go back.
Somebody's
I
still
think
gonna
you can
screw
go
it up.
forward. I think physics. I'm not a physicist.
Yeah,
I
but if you're
believe
saying you can go
phys-
forward, you might as well just freeze yourself and then unfreeze yourself and be like, "Hey, I'm a time traveler." And you're like, "No, brother, you've just been frozen for a long time."
I don't think you can go back. I think they can.
Really?
I think you can get propelled forward, but you can't go back to your own time. I think with the physics, because
What if you could, but they like erased your memory? Like some
Mm.
time travel bureau was like, "Oh, you want to go back? Okay,
Well,
but we're resetting."
but the
you don't remember.
paradox is you can't go back and change history. Like
That's why you just wake up one day and yesterday
But what
you
if
were
you can't?
50 years in the future, and today you think you're.
How do we know we can't? Because what do we know? What if we know the history today is not changed history?
Oh, there could be time travelers amongst us for sure.
I mean, I've
There's
seen
a lot
some
of TV
videos.
shows out there that you guys should watch.
Yeah,
have a
that
lot of
explore
things to
those.
do. Yeah,
I just
Those
think
concepts.
it's an interesting debate because I feel like we don't know. We'll never know.
You
'Cause
just-
if you
Well, again, what would it change
it
anything?
wouldn't. No, it wouldn't change anything. It's just
No.
If I was like
purely-
Rocco, I traveled here from 50 years in the future.
I'd like Stan, who's going to win the World Series this year so I can bet some money on it. Like that's what I would do. I would like tell me some shit that's going to happen.
You should watch
But
Travelers on
I
Netflix.
get it.
but
if
see,
you're
here's the
gonna
thing: is
get into
now
that.
does Stan know that? He'd be like, "Dude, I don't know. That's not something that
I don't know who won the World Series last year.
Yeah, exactly. My point.
Aw,
He
Stan.
couldn't even tell you who won the Super Bowl last year.
I like Stan. Tell me some tax stuff. Then
That
tell
escapes
me
me.
some tax.
See what I mean? Like none of that would be.
Is it the Chiefs?
I just think
was
think it's an
They lost,
interesting,
right?
it's
Eagles.
an interesting
Eagles,
thing
yeah.
to think about because we don't know and we probably never will. That's how
Stan
I look at it.
Difference.
You're a fucking
Well,
terrible
the-
time
the
traveler.
scary- the scary thing for me would be if humanity would find out that it was all just inconsequential in the big picture of the universe, really, and it was like blatantly put right in our face, that we would have mass indifference to just about everything. And
No, I
that
think
leads
most
to
people would.
chaos.
I would not. I would be
That
indifferent
would
to
lead.
it.
That would lead to chaos.
I think that would lead to chaos. I think
I think a lot of
most
religious people would just.
lose it.
Yep.
Oh, no
yeah.
question. Yeah, I mean, morals will break down immediately.
No, see, I don't think morals would. I think
do.
a lot
I
of.
think more. I think more.
I think for some people, morals would. I think for other people, morals would be like, well, that's just how I was living my life, anyways.
That's kind of like being trapped on an island, like a smaller version. Like if we were just trapped on an island.
Yeah.
It's like all of society as a big concept is gone now. We can create our own little thing here. So even in that
Yes.
situation, you
I
could
think
you're still gonna
society's
have
worst
morals.
would come out. I think.
Well,
I'm
just on an
pessimist.
island, you have
but I
people
believe
panic
that our
and freak
work-
out.
I
But
think
now
our
this
work-
goes back to your very first point of: are you going to be kind, or are you going to have humility,
or both.
or both?
Neither.
But why? Why would you do that? Why would you choose bad?
If there's no consequences, human greed
No,
would
but
set in.
but that's the thing is, if there's no consequences, then like what it goes back to money psychology.
Well, but
what is money?
Here's what
Yeah.
I think. Wait, hold on.
the-
We have a framework in society. We have law and order is a framework in society that keeps order, right? If someone comes down and says, none of that shit matters, do what the fuck you guys want, people are gonna be like, I'm losing my shit. It's gonna be like Lord of the Flies. That's how I see it. Like, it's because there's no more rules. Like, rules.
That really isn't too optimistic, Rocco.
But I'm literally saying what you're saying.
I know.
I'm
Because
saying
when you think about it, like,
that's how I feel.
I think that
we
will
have that.
turn certain people to be one way, and other people just to be the other.
But I think the people that turn the one way, the other people are going to have to survive.
I don't think they'll have to survive. It will be some sort of mild fight at the same point but then that's where it comes back to like
Your definition of mild and my definition of mild are
Well.
definitely two different things.
Yeah, sure. But like, who do you think is going to have an uprising and suddenly want to murder somebody?
I don't know. I mean,
But now who's going to suddenly want to go rob banks?
look on social media.
Because at
Now,
the
there's a
same
big
time-
debate
Well,
about who
nothing
can
matters,
win
so there is no
100
money,
men.
Matt.
Think
That's
about
what I'm
this.
saying. But then they think they need
Hold on,
the
think about
money,
this.
so they could just walk into the store and get it all.
There's an order in society right now.
Yes.
Yet there's a theme on social media. People talk about, can 100 men beat a fucking gorilla?
Yeah.
That's what society's talking about. Now, when there is order, take that order away.
Dude, I'm turning
People-
heel and I'm fighting with the
people will
gorilla.
go- People will go crazy.
I
'Cause
don't
there's
think
no rules.
saying it doesn't matter takes it away, though. Have
No,
you read?
I don't think so either.
I think it was Sebastian Junger's Tribe book, where he talks about how a lot of the things that are keeping society together are intangible concepts
Right, they
that
are.
we
All
just
are.
all kind of agree to.
So that's where
laws
it's like,
and money.
if
and,
you said none of that matters,
Right.
we've all already
But,
established
yeah,
It's a social
this.
contract.
yeah, we've
right?
all kind of agreed.
Social
like,
contract.
We
There
know
would
it
be a
doesn't
select-
really matter.
Yeah, there would be a select few who would then be like, "Oh my God, none of this matters." So like, what are we
I
gonna?
think
And
it's
you'd
more
have
than
people
a
who are like,
select
"Stop."
few. I think it's going to be. I believe, and this is.
I would
not-
say 25% of the whole world.
I don't know, man. I think if you
Maybe even
if you
less.
take away, I'm a realist. I'm an optimist by nature, and I'm also a realist. Like, if you look at just human nature, right? If I could say, hey Matt, you can do whatever the fuck you want, no consequences. You might do some shit different, maybe not, but I probably.
But I
think
mean, personally, I wouldn't
you may do a little bit of different things. I think you take away
drive
that
on the wrong side of
social.
the road.
You take away that social contract. Where like it's a free for all. People are gonna.
Well, how would you? You can't really say that though. That there's no consequences.
But that's the thing is there
Well-
are so if it's like
Because then, like,
Consequence is death. The consequence is death.
yes,
You're not going to jail.
no,
You're not.
But
there's
so-
no rules you're
Yeah,
breaking.
but here's the bigger one.
that only lasts a
even
little
bigger
short
than that.
period of
that's what I
time.
mean.
Even
And so as long
bigger
as you have to
than that.
survive that little bit, and I think
Wait,
like,
hold on,
You're not thinking even. No. The danger is the breakdown of the religious tenets. The real consequence is my actions on this earth have no afterlife.
Yeah, so you know what?
Consequence. That's
in my
it.
head, the first things that's
That's
gonna happen
the big one.
Yeah.
is all of those people are just gonna off themselves because they've been holding on to this for so long that they have nothing else to live for. So what are they living for?
I don't think they'll off.
And I think that they would try and meet their maker sooner than later.
I don't agree with that. I don't think
If
I
they
think
were
it-
if they
it
were
would-
shown that there isn't a maker,
That's my point. And so
Or-
you've either got the ones who are going to go drastically one way and be like, well, I'm going to go be the crappiest person ever. But also at the same point, why haven't they done that before? It's like they've been holding this inside,
Well,
waiting
I'm not,
for
I'm
this
not, I'm not
proof.
saying there's going to be a switch to this flip. All of a sudden,
Oh, I
people's
think
gonna
it's going to
start
be a switch.
going crazy. I think it'll start. The fabric of society will break down and erode, and then people will go from here to here to here.
I think it
to
would
here.
break down in a road and then rebuild something new.
I mean,
a couple
but-
generations
but
maybe.
potentially.
Sure, that's
but
what I'm
What
saying.
about all of us
You just
here,
have to
though?
survive it.
But that's every empire throughout the history of time. It has its rise and fall, and that
And
would
then
kind
there-
of be the same thing.
And
But
you
this
know
is-
what? And then misinformation would come through, and then a new religion would spark up, and everybody would be right back to where they started.
Possible, very possible.
Like 100%. And
Yeah,
I'm pretty
no,
sure,
I agree, but
like,
there's
because
going to be a
most
period of
religion
time.
is all based off of prior religions.
But there will be a period of time where I believe society as a whole will erode. There will be different levels of erosion, right? Some may go from a 10 to an 8 and a
Yeah.
10 to a 1.
Yeah.
There's going to be, I don't think everybody's going to be like, I'm a 10, I'm going to stay at 10. I don't think anybody in society would do that. 'Cause there's going to be a level of erosion to survive.
I would love to put like 200 people in a room and just figure out what that looks like.
It would be like the island.
That's what I mean.
Because like
yeah.
you still, I don't know how long it would take to get there, but you need to, eventually everyone would realize we still need to make food. We should have shelter. Like it's easier when you're
Barter
organized.
system comes
like,
back
yeah,
until
now we
somebody
need money
eventually comes up with money. Yeah.
Right.
And then you have rebuilt the same
You're
system.
putting a
that you had.
lot of faith in humanity, man. I don't
But
know
even
if
if
I
it
got that much
happened
faith.
right now, there's no way to have no consequences because it's
Yeah.
still like now you're going to starve in 3 days because
Yep.
nobody's making food and everything.
That's
gone
how you get
crazy.
to that's when the survival of the fittest comes in.
But then
That's
it
what
also-
happens.
It's primal then.
It becomes primal. It becomes primal until what I believe would happen. It would become primal until rational thought comes back into the picture.
Yeah.
But the natural instinct. Human beings are primal by nature. Let's all understand that right now. I believe we are primal by nature. You pull away the construct and the social contract, our primal nature comes out until we realize rationally, and that rational part of our brain starts working and say, okay, we fucked up. Like we've got to start.
So I
doing
think those
things
are the ones who
differently.
are at that far end of like religion.
Yeah, they're
they're the ones who are going to need that. But then I feel like there's people who are just like, oh, well, I hope I can still like do the things that I just want to do, which is the normal things that I've been doing.
Yeah, there will be true, but I think there will be. It would be an interesting experiment. Let's get 200 people, put them in a room, and be like, let's see what happens. Like
You just say, hey guys, if you didn't have to.
Mr. Beast, he should do that. He should do a video. Just get 200 people in a room, and be like, hey, no rules.
It'd be a big
If-
room.
If a being came down and proved beyond a shadow of a doubt, or as much as you can prove with the shadow of doubt, that there is no afterlife, that there is no Buddha, there's no Muhammad, there's no Jesus, there's nothing.
Mhm.
The shock. I mean, there's 7 billion Catholics. There's like what 20
Would they believe
billion
them, though?
Buddhists.
Yeah,
That's what I was going to say because
Only
that's
a
where the-
portion of them need to.
but that's where the far side of like that goes.
as we're talking through, it's like I'm thinking to myself, they have no proof of that now.
If a being came down with an army
Mhm.
and was holding and blowing us
Now
up,
they've got an army.
Now they're blowing us
but
up.
an
We're
army
getting
that
real
would come down
hypothetical.
and just started literally dominating humanity
Okay,
and corralling us and putting us in camps. Or
This
like,
is a three-body
okay.
problem.
I mean, so it left no doubt that these things are more powerful than any human,
okay.
and they came from the sky. I
Okay.
guess what they're saying is fucking true because they're in control. You know,
Well,
I think if
Well, you got to wait for season 2 and 3 to come out.
if you're really religious
once-
though, would you
and-
be like
and
this is a
what,
test?
This is what I honestly believe,
Mhm.
Rocco.
Mhm.
More than anything else, I definitely, and I've said this multiple times, I definitely believe in my heart of hearts that there are other species out there, and they may have come over the course of 4 billion years of this
Mhm.
planet being here. Maybe.
Sure.
But I honestly believe in my heart of hearts, the moment anything not of this earth is
Mhm.
proven to be alive, the moment that happens, religion in this world is doomed. Not the next day,
No, they'll
but
just move the
over a month or a year or two, religion will go away and it will not fucking be pretty.
I think-
Because every spirit, to my understanding, there is no text that talks about aliens.
There's no text that also talks about the moon. Also, I mean,
But the
Yeah.
moon,
I know a
the
little
moon's
bit
not
about
coming down
religion.
there shooting me.
yeah, but
You know what I mean?
But also, like, that's half of where like flat Earth came from. Is
Yeah, the
like, I mean, we
Bible,
talked about
the
it. It's
firmament.
like
I mean, it came
yeah.
from the firmament in Genesis. I mean, that's where it came
Jesus
from.
went to the 4 corners of the world.
I think
And
it
that
would
was
just
it.
adapt religion.
And that's what I mean.
Maybe a
is so
few
like
of them
they
would-
just
would
move
die
the
out.
goalposts on like what that means. That's why they're
Yeah.
like
God
there-
created everything.
there
So
is a
that
religion
includes
that believes
aliens.
that if you send something up into the sky, that's it. That's just
There's a top.
there's a top. There's a heaven. That's what heaven is.
Maybe there's an
Yeah.
alien religion that's similar to one of our religions, and it's like, oh, we got a few things wrong, but really, it's just like
Wait,
the
you
alien
guys never
one.
heard the joke that they're like, like Jesus never comes and visits you, and they're like, no, why? They're like, well, because he comes every birthday, and we have a big party for him. They're like, what did you guys do when Jesus showed up? They're like, oh, we nailed him to the cross and killed him. They're like, well, no wonder he doesn't come back.
Thanks.
But you know that's true. There's the guy who's the son of God, and everybody just strung him up and killed him.
Well, that's what happened to a lot of ancient religions. They just sort of got adopted, and
I know.
now they're something.
So you
slightly
know some
different.
other alien life is just hanging out with their version of Jesus, and they're like, yeah, because we throw him a party.
A lot of religion, in my opinion, is, and this is a debate I've gotten into, because I'm a person of faith and I believe, and it's where I get hung up is on the interpretation over time, right? The translations of religious texts change.
Oh yeah.
So we don't necessarily know, unless someone could go back in a time machine and actually prove what happened. We're taking it on faith. So if you have beings that come down and tell us it doesn't exist, there are still people that have the faith that it does.
Yep.
Because they can't see that it doesn't. Even if you have people, because again, if you want to use that argument, then why are there wars? If I believe, that in a religion that murder is bad, why does murder happen? Why do wars happen? Why do countries bomb other countries? Why were nuclear weapons created? There are so many things that contradict the tenets of religion, where if someone came down and said, oh, it doesn't exist, we're like, well, all this other shit happens too, so how can we believe you?
I think the difference would be that in that scenario, most religions believe that there's free will. So man created this dysfunction and man's hurting other man. If an alien comes down here, that is not congruent with the fundamentalist version of literature. You know what I mean? Because it's not stated in the literature that there's a being over Mars, right?
The Bible has texts of the angels coming down and mating with the humans. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. That's the thing. There's different translations.
Just so happens that the angels weren't as pretty as we thought.
I mean, but it's true. Like I can't remember the name. I can't remember the name, but it's the angels came down and mated with humans.
So you're saying we would confuse the aliens with angels?
I don't know. But, no, I'm not
well, if
saying
they're
that,
coming the way that you said they're coming,
there are lots of theories about that on the internet.
You're saying they're going to come down and we're just going to be like, oh fuck, they're right. I'm like,
yeah.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that there will be different interpretations of what they are, and I think it's not going to be a like, oh shit, religion's gone. I think because people are going to believe, and the whole point of religion and faith is not necessarily the truth of it; it's the belief of it. It's believing in something.
It's faith. It's hope.
It's faith. It's hope. It's something greater than you. It's believing that I'm called to do something. That there is a higher power above. Because there's certain things in this world you can't explain. Explain intuition. You can't really explain it. I believe that's part of a higher power. There's some people are given gifts in life, like certain intuition, certain things, spiritual gifts. I believe that, and that I can't prove that.
Right.
It's my faith and my belief.
Right.
And I think that's what religion is. It's a faith and a belief. And yes, there are people that use the Bible as their way to hold religion. To me, it is my relationship with God. I don't need the Bible to define or a religious text to define my faith. It is my own internal relationship. And everybody looks at it differently. So an alien could come down with a fucking shit ton of people and guns and tanks and be like, I don't want to give a shit. My belief is my belief. It's not going to change it.
So you agree that it won't be as crazy as you thought it would be?
We're talking different things now. We're talking different things, man. We're talking different things. I was talking about religion. I don't think it'll upset religion as much as you think.
That's what I'm saying. 25%.
Okay, then I'll give you that.
I'll stick with 25%.
You win. You get the trophy.
Ooh, I get the trophy now.
I think a lot of
okay. So hold on a second. Since we're here,
we're here. I poked the bear.
So I'll ask each of you a real simple yes or no question. Do you believe that the U.S. government's got alien technology?
I'm indifferent.
Do you?
I'm going to lean towards yes.
Unsure, but probably.
Okay, so why aren't they telling us? If that's okay, if that is true,
I mean,
I'm inclined to agree with you.
Okay.
So my question is, hey, you're indifferent to shut up.
Yeah, but
I will tell you why. I will tell you why. If you're going with it because they think it'll upset religion, I don't think that's the case. I think it's a technology they don't understand yet. And I think governments fight other governments, and if we have a technology that we don't understand, why would we tell other people about it?
I mean, it could be as simple as greed. What if
that's what I'm saying?
They think I found it. If I can keep it to a select group of people, we can make money off of this.
Or become more powerful because we can reverse engineer this technology and figure out what it is before anybody else even knows we have it.
I feel like if I was back to the time travel thing, if I'm a time traveler and I did know about sports and you guys could bet on it, would you just tell the whole world I'm a time traveler, or would you be like, well, let's bet on a bunch of games and make a ton of money first?
Right. Yes. Then we'll tell everybody to travel back here from time.
Make a big defense company, make a lot of money on weapons and aerospace stuff.
Yeah.
And then when the aliens come down, at least you're prepared.
Yeah, I don't think I know where you're going with that.
Like if you know the threat is there, then you're just gonna why would you threaten and scare everybody? Just watch Three Body Problem.
You think it's more about a commerce or a money component?
I think
or
it could be power,
everything
money.
the government all of it does is money and power.
You don't think it's like an order thing?
They don't give a shit about that.
Because you say the government, but what if you and 3 other people were in a department and you found it and you're the only ones that know? It's like...
Yeah, I don't think it's order because the government. I mean, they care about order, kind of.
Also,
But they also create disorder for the sake of creating disorder.
yeah, if you're going to tell somebody, hey, we
controlled
got this,
chaos.
how much information is out there for you to actually back that up? Like,
Mhm.
there's nothing that you have to stand on. Even if you worked with them, you have a photo, especially now, you can
Mhm.
go back to the AI bit, you have a photo of you with your alien friend, and you go
Mhm.
out and you show somebody at the bar.
It could be momentum too, because you don't know right off the bat it's
Yeah.
an alien. She might be it's a Russian, it's this, it's that. So you're like, we have to keep this covered up. Let's go figure out what it is, and then it's
Mhm.
already covered up. Then you find out it's alien. You just kind of keep the cover up ball rolling. And
Are you familiar with the theory that we've been using alien technology for the past 60 years?
like lasers and fiber optics.
Transistors mainly.
Transistors.
We pulled it off of the crash in Roswell. We pulled that technology out of there, and all of a sudden, everything started to technology just kind of exploded from that point, and it grew exponentially.
I know that theory.
So basically, what they're saying is you had this industrial revolution
Mhm.
100 years prior to 1930 or
Mhm.
40, what it was, and then right around the time the Roswell crash happened, not too long after that, the transistor was invented, and from there, the growth of technology in society just was exponential.
I just think there's people who are just working on that stuff all the time. We just don't know about it until there's a breakthrough.
Could be. I mean, that's what the government says is the truth, but I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying I believe it. I just don't know.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things out there that we don't know about.
You
but
just
I
have to
think
go watch it.
I'm definitely watching this thing. I'm so curious
Because it
now.
even talks about that aspect of like humans have advanced technology way faster than these aliens because they have to deal with the 3-body problem the whole time, and they have to do all these things, and they're like, you got into nuclear faster than
That's
us.
an advocate here.
But it's all this stuff is like aliens, and it's just like slots in.
Did you get a contract with Netflix
Oh
recently?
god, I wish. Sign me up. But like they even explain that, and they're like,
Don't tell me anymore. I want to watch it, man. You're
Yeah.
spoiling it
Yeah,
for
you
me.
can't say
Spoiling it
anything
for me.
else.
Don't say anything else.
if you want to, that's what I mean. If you want to talk about aliens, if you want to talk about technology, if you want to talk about those
Watch the
things,
movie.
and how people react to
series.
things like this.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a
okay,
series.
I'm gonna watch it.
It's a book.
Okay, I'm gonna watch it though. I'm not reading it right now. I'm
But
good.
yeah, if
I
you're-
read enough. I read enough stuff. I just want to watch it.
Degradation of society.
Listen, man. Listen, man.
Bring the book back.
Do you read fiction?
No, I don't.
I didn't
No,
think so.
no. I probably read 2 to 3 nonfiction books a week.
I know that,
Yeah,
but I'm
but
saying that you
you
do
don't
any
read
fiction
fiction?
books, nothing fiction.
I
That's
have
that
in the
productivity deficit. Just
I-
relax.
past. Well,
Have a story.
I've
Enjoy
read
yourself.
I've read fiction books. I don't get enjoyment from. I like to learn things. It's not even about
See,
the
I'm-
productivity. I just like to learn.
Polar opposite. I am like, if I'm reading a story, I
Yeah.
want it to be all fiction.
Me too.
Yeah, see,
But I read I'll read the news. I'll read all these other things. But I'm like, I could never get into a book that's just like,
Biographies.
yeah,
No thanks.
I'm a visual person. I'd rather for enjoying, I'd rather watch it happen.
Yeah.
I like to learn. Like if I'm reading something, I like to learn and I like to make myself think. So if I'm reading something, I want to think while I'm reading it. Say, okay, like this is challenging the way I think. This is challenging a premise I have. To me, if I'm a story, I just want to watch it and see it and hear it. I don't want to read it and think about it because I'm going to look at it from my point of view when I read it. I want to see how others see it.
So it's funny because that's one of the reasons why like graphic novels and comic books are my favorite, because that artist literally shows me what I want to see.
Yeah,
you know?
Fred's the same way.
And I can flip to a page and it's just a 2-page spread of something really awesome, and I'm like, that was great. Now if you put that whole book in a book, that's 4 pages worth of descriptions to explain something that guy just beautifully
yeah.
drew for me.
It's not my thing. Never been.
Then you can imagine it in your own way if you're just reading it.
True, but when I
Create
do
your
that, but when I do that,
Mhm.
my brain thinks in movies. So they're like, "Oh, look at this luscious thing." I'm like, "So the camera pans down, like, yeah, like it comes in like this," and that's how I'm like
I bet.
immediately.
Yeah.
The Harry Potter Cursed Child is a play, and the book is the play version. Like it has dialogue and everything like that.
Wow.
And that was the first time that I read something that I was like, "Oh, this is exactly how I would read a book like this." Just don't give me all these descriptions and things. It's literally like interior scene 1. Like this is what it is. Here's Harry saying this. Here's this person saying this. Here's this person saying this. Like, and you get out of like quotes angrily. Harry angrily says, well, line.
So it's a screenplay, basically.
It's a screenplay.
Interesting.
And I read that so easy. I was like, this, because this speaks my language. so I visually see the
Yeah,
the
I
whole
bet.
thing.
I like to listen to autobiographies, audible, like if the author is, because autobiographies are the greatest form of fiction ever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not real. I mean, really, it's purely fiction.
Yeah.
But I like to listen to the author read his own or her own autobiography.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Did you ever do
Hear it from their point of view.
Chuck? Who's the bass player, jazz bass player? Chuck Mingus. Am I saying that right?
Mingus.
Mingus.
Charles Mingus.
Charles Mingus. That is. At the beginning of his autobiography, it says something like, "Some of this was real and some of this is not."
At least he's honest about it.
Yeah, that's nice. I love it.
I mean, half those guys, never trust a musician's autobiography, especially if they came out of the 60s or 70s, because they can't remember half this shit. I mean, it's the greatest work of fiction ever. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, man.
Absolute blast. We'll do this again.
Yeah, this was fun.
I had no idea what the ultimate route would be, but we got there.
We went all over the place.
And
Man.
it was
Holy
excellent.
shit.
We got to do this again.
Therapy to
I
aliens.
like this group.
Yeah, it was fun.
Therapy to
We
aliens.
did.
That's right, man. You never know where it's going to be.
Absolutely not. Man.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right. We're out.